your head out of your butt. You're going to be working at a mill all day long.
Yeah.
Craig T. Nelson.
Craig T. Nelson there before he was coach on the TV show.
Big Rams fan, by the way.
Was he really?
Oh,
He
He is, yeah.
Yeah. He's still alive, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. When's the last time he's done something?
Who, Craig T. Nelson?
Yeah. It was on some TV show, wasn't he? The father on some TV show?
Oh, I'm trying to... Yeah, he was in that show that y'all liked. What was it called? The one y'all watched with y'all's wives?
No, it wasn't This Is Us. It was the one before that.
This Is Us was you're thinking of...
It was the NBC show with Dak Shepard was on it.
You're thinking of the guy that played Major Dad. What's his name? The actor.
His most recent credit is in Young Sheldon.
Oh, there you go, Young Sheldon.
Yeah, Young Sheldon.
As a coach.
Thank you, Tyler. And other Tyler.
Not stereotyped at all, is he? Parenthood.
Thank you. That was the NBC show, Dak
Right,
Shepard.
those checks, Cash.
Yeah. But Parenthood was This Is Us before This Is Us on NBC. All right, that's the show today. Don't forget all the stuff happening on the platform. More recruiting news happening around. You got the flip there today for Auburn and a lot more. The Meltdowns at 2 today, Central Time. Until next time, God bless you. God bless America.
When on YouTube, you constantly hear requests to please like and subscribe. Well, here at Disrupt Media, we aren't going to play that game. Those demands are frankly outdated. So we just want you to hit like or subscribe. It's like a choose-your-own-adventure novel. Pick a path, hit like, or hit subscribe. It's your call. We don't care which, just pick one. Or go to Roll Tide Pods and do it. Or War Damn Pods. Or the Disrupt Media YouTube channel. Or The Meltdown. Just make a decision and stick with it. Like or subscribe, the choice is yours.
Every day, someone is ridiculed and mocked for the clothing they chose to wear. It's a harsh reality we all must face. But you have the chance to change all of that with one visit to nextround.store. For just a few minutes of browsing, you will observe so many clothing options, from hats to hoodies to t-shirts. Please, for yourself or someone you love, go to nextround.store and embrace the warmth of true attire.
Follow Next Round Live on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. The social media team at Next Round Live is dedicated to giving you daily news conferences and practice video from UAB, Alabama, Auburn, and around college football. Follow and compare to the sites you used to visit. You'll also get the latest highlights and news from the Next Round Daily Show. Turn on the notifications so you don't miss a thing. Next Round Live on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. See more at nextroundlive.com.
Take the next round anywhere you go with official Next Round gear. Buy yours today at nextround.store. Jim Dunaway, Lance Taylor, Ryan Brown, and Rockstar. Live from the Birmingham Racecourse Casino Studios, the Next Round, presented by Bud Light, is on now.
College football camps are open. Jack State yesterday in our area, out and about with new locker rooms that Brownie, I'm sure, is paying for, part of it over there.
But I think my parents helped back in the day.
Part of the new expansion over there at the new Amherst Stadium as they get going over there. We've got recruiting to talk about, more going on in college football. The NFL camps roll on, and a lot to get to. LTD&B with you. Rockstar is back. Glad you're healthy again. Rocky, I wasn't here Friday. Congratulations for those that are just getting the news on your expanding family.
Thank you, and I got an illness out on top of it, so it's been fun.
Well, just wait till you start cycling in the kit again. You'll go through it all again.
That's a warm-up act for you right there.
Yeah, it'll be fantastic. Not, at least you're not a singer and have to use that voice. Lunceford and Tyler and Forrester on the back row. Melton getting ready for that 2 o'clock Central Time meltdown. Emily Grace McWhorter will join us in a second. Taylor Korn handling everything social media at Next Round Live. Like, subscribe, give us a thumbs up on all of our platforms, TikTok, Instagram, on Twitter, and of course on YouTube as you watch us today, and on the audio app as you listen to us, podcast, Apple, and Spotify. Let's start in recruiting. Forrester, can we get the most updated On3 team rankings as we start camp and start to get to the on-the-field news in recruiting? Last 72 hours have been big for Auburn. Ohio State, Alabama, LSU, Georgia, Oregon, Auburn, all the way up to number 6 with 7 recruits in the last 72 hours. They're 6th in the 2025 class. number 1 currently in the 2026 class. Clemson, Tennessee, Florida State, and Texas A&M rounding out the top 10. Hugh Freeze, you've been a big fan of his. You knew he was going to hit the recruiting trail, and Big Cat Weekend usually brings some big commitments.
Well, I mean, Hugh Freeze is a guy that is always been known for the recruiting, and whether it was above or below board back in the Ole Miss days, now everything is above board. So I've got no doubt that Hugh Freeze can get after it. He's one of the better recruiters in all of college football. And where Auburn sits right now, we'll see how this thing shakes out, because we kind of talked about it to begin the show yesterday. You know, what do these commitments really mean with as much as people are flipping now? But if I'm an Auburn fan, got to be super excited with the other programs that stack up where Auburn is right now, currently number 6 on 3.
And anytime I see any more of my team recruiting well, whether you're an Auburn fan or I think Tennessee's done pretty well recently.
Yeah, they were in that ranking right there.
Alabama, I mean, I think they're number 2 right now or whatever. All those are top 10 teams. As a fan, whether I know this to be the case or not, I step back and say, well, we've got our NIL squared away. We're in line, man. We got our NIL cooking. I mean, I think it's a fair assumption, right? If you're recruiting in the top 10 right now. See, I used to laugh at this. Like, all these fan bases were like, our school does it above board, everybody else cheats. Well, you're recruiting right with those schools that are cheating. How are you doing that? I mean, you've got the most incredible.
You got a magic formula?
Yeah, you got the most incredible recruiting staff of all time. So, yeah, I just always assumed if you were up in the top 10, you were cheating just like everybody else is cheating, right? Some maybe more, some less, but you were doing it. If you're in the top 10 now, I just assume you got the NIL squared away. Like, you've figured it out. You've got it streamlined. The money's getting to the people the money needs to get to. The people are donating that need to donate. You got NIL squared away. That's the way you're going to have to do it moving forward.
And we were at an event last night for a Thompson High School recruit downtown in Birmingham, so not in Alabaster. It was up in Birmingham where the event was. Taylor was covering this social media-wise for us at Next Round Live. Anquan Fagans, the 4-star Thompson guy, he comes rolling up. I didn't know what kind of car it was. At first, I thought it was the Batmobile. I mean, hell, I don't know. I don't know fancy cars. It's apparently a McLaren Rockstar hit it. This is Fagans, the 4-star safety from Thompson, before he picks Auburn, getting out of the McLaren. Obviously, when you back out like that, you're not used to getting out of the McLaren. It's all new to him.
Does he even have his license?
Yeah. He'll be so he goes into the event. So I've got the camera, so I'm going to walk over and check out the car, right? Because the commitment's not going to happen for another hour and a half. That's Robbie, who's responsible for the car.
So inside the car. So what kind of car we got here?
A McLaren 720S.
Oh, top end speed.
240.
Oh,
240.
hello.
Fastest you've ever had it.
Not that fast.
So 240. If I put you on, what is the German Autobahn? Is that what it is? If I put you on the Autobahn, which is pretty straight, how fast could you get at LT?
I would have no desire to. I mean, the fastest I've ever gone in the car, I think, is 130 miles an hour, and way too fast with that.
Oh gosh! I thought it for a second he was going to clip the back of that other car.
Yeah, watch how close Jimmy Camera guy gets to the back up here.
So is that the dude that owns the car?
I got the feeling he was a handler.
No, he doesn't really look like he knows how to drive it.
No, he is being super careful. He ain't going to curb it, is he?
I would imagine at 240, if you just touch it too much. And I think he's going to back up again here until I decide to get this tight shot.
Yeah, let's go and get his license plate out there.
Yeah, you don't see a lot of McLarens in Alabama.
Yeah. Florida. Wow. Yeah. So it was pretty cool to see it up close and personal. I
don't try to get in the head of a 17-year-old. Like Jack and Jace would be like, that is unbelievable. And I don't know. I mean, whatever you want to do, right?
Smuff says he should have committed to Georgia if that thing does 240.
That's what our buddy Chris Marler, Vern Frunquist, said last night.
Yeah.
I know he's committing to Auburn, but that seems more Georgia.
That's right.
Yeah.
Well, you kind of knew he probably wasn't. Georgia wasn't in the mix if you were going to show up with that. I think Kirby would probably 86 that immediately.
Let's do a Ford Escort.
Yeah. Kirby wants to go back to the scooter days. Remember, we used to have scooter controversies.
Now, I'm not going to pretend like I'm young anymore. I'm 48. Zero chance, if that's the way you have to get out of a McLaren, that I could functionally participate.
That'd be tough.
I don't think technically you're supposed to back out of him like that.
Well, I mean, that kid's he is a world-class athlete, I'd say. I mean, he's, what, a 4-star? Is that right?
4-star safety, kick returner, can do it all.
So Thompson recruited him, and now Auburn's recruited him.
I think the high-end sports car.
He has to back out.
I think that's more of a short man's car. I just think it's difficult for a bigger guy to. I mean, how big is Antoine?
Was he 6'1"?
I think he's 6'1". Yeah, 6'1" safety.
I mean, that's shorter than you, Lance, and he had to back out of it.
Yeah, that was.
And he's athletic.
Yeah, I don't think that's the way you're supposed to get out.
Yeah.
It's not the way they do in the movies.
I mean, it would have looked better as a Duke boy just climbing out, right?
Climb out the window.
I think you got to go left leg. Got to get that left leg going in the right direction first to get anything happening there. So so go ahead.
Well, I was telling Taylor earlier, because Taylor is still very, very young, and very young in this business too. And she and I were just laughing. I was like, do you know 10 years ago, if a recruit had showed up to his announcement in how much is that McLaren? 250,000?
Oh, more than that.
How much? $500,000?
No, I mean, I think there are McLarens that are $1 million.
A $500,000 car, let's say. Let's just be fair. A $500,000 car. It would have set the internet on fire.
Instantly an NCAA letter of allegations.
Yeah, I mean, the NCAA would not even wait it. They would have had it stamped this morning and in the mail. And now we don't even bat an eye at it. We're like, oh, cool, he's got a McLaren, which I'm fine with. I'm not.
Well, you just wonder how it is it something you paid $1,000
to rent?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know.
It's obviously not his. This was just this was a roll up.
Yeah, but but you know, even if it was just roll up, what would have been said 10 years ago, less than a decade ago. The reaction that would have been. That's what I was telling Little T. I was like, Little T, you need to understand. It would have set. It's all anybody be talking about today. Like Auburn is staring down the gun barrel from the NCAA. They've got recruits showing up at McLarens, and now we don't even bat an eye at.
Because you've got other quarterbacks that own cars like that.
Every day, yeah.
Hey, I saw you guys are shooting the arrival last night. You guys aren't going to put that on the news, are you? You're not going to put that on the news, are
people
you?
be requesting our video from all over.
They'd be calling like, hey, don't put that on the news.
Yeah, I mean, again, this is not a get off the lawn segment. I'm 100% fine with it. I don't care. I didn't care 10 years ago. I sure don't care now. I'm just pointing out how it would have been the reaction 10 years ago would have melted the internet. Clay Travis launched his website on guys going to get free suits.
Yeah, and cheap suits.
Free.
Yep.
Yeah. Not even great. Not even great ones.
I don't want to disparage the name of Tuscaloosa.
I don't know if is that dude still in business?
I really don't know. Is Tuscaloosa Menswear still alive?
I don't know. I wasn't going to name anybody.
Well, I mean, Clay did.
I would tell you this though. This was back in the day. If we're going to do back in the day segment here, you'd have 12 guys making their announcement. You know, it'd be one guy's going to West Georgia.
Yeah.
One guy's going to Old Dominion. This kid's going to Birmingham Southern. Oh, kid's going to Auburn. Oh, Jack State. Da, da, da. You do 12 in a gym. Great party last night. The Fagans threw downtown. There's chicken wings. There's barbecue pork. Open food and drink for. The Thompson players were there. Coaches, family members.
Free food and drink.
Free food and drink. Just a great celebration. Here's the family up there making the announcement online. Auburn Live on 3 Sports is where they did it live. Pulls out the hat here, the Auburn hat first. Auburn, Clemson, Georgia, and someone else, LSU were the finalists. Pulls out the Auburn hat and says, nope, throws it away. Oh, the crowd goes, whoa.
Oh, that was the Auburn hat he tossed?
Yep. And then he brings out a green Auburn hat.
Okay.
And then everybody's comfortable again. But just to celebrate like that and have the McLaren and DJ was there playing music.
I'm going to assume that Auburn was on the hook for every dime of this.
I think that's probably a safe
and you really
assumption.
start to wonder with USC and Oregon and teams like that going to the Big Ten and Oklahoma and Texas coming to the SEC, how much is, hey, man, we have got to have bigger and bigger and bigger budgets because every one of our recruits is going to want to do that.
When I say I assume the NIL is dialed in, that's what I'm talking about.
Well, like that McLaren, I would guess, would be $1,000 to rent for one day.
Yeah, unless you've got an Auburn booster that's like, I'm in. Yeah.
It was Florida license plates.
Well, it was. Auburn people live everywhere, Jim. They don't
stay in the
States.
I was just pointing out.
Yeah.
I wasn't saying Billy Napier was on
That's probably, wouldn't you say that's, with the McLaren and everything, that's probably a $5,000 party, right?
If not more.
Easily.
Yeah. Open bar, didn't you say?
That's a rental space downtown that hosts a beautiful space. Avenue D, I think it was called, or something like that. It's wedding receptions, weddings, beautiful view in the patio back there of Sloss Furnace and all that back there. It was a nice little venue.
And
so you had to rent that out.
Open bar?
Open bar and free
For
food.
how long? A couple hours?
Little T and I got there at 6. We left there at 8.
Okay.
So at least 2 hours.
Free food?
Free food.
Yeah,
I might be going light on that.
$10 grand, Lance.
Well, you think about you sign 25
DJ?
And you're spending $250,000 just for their announcements?
Just for the announcement party. That's when I say you feel like you got NIL dialed in, this is what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
I mean,
And if you wonder why guys like Nick Saban, who love to recruit, are out of the game now, this is exactly why.
But if I'm a 5-star and I'm a bigger player than Antoine Fagans, I want more than that. And that's where it starts to add up, right? It's when the 5-star comes and says, hey, I saw what Antoine did. Here's what I'd like to do. I'd like to land in a helicopter.
Well, he's the 9th ranked safety. If I'm the number 1
that's
safety.
That's right. Let me land in a helicopter. I'd like to land in a helicopter.
I want to do this where they used to do the draft, Radio City Music Hall. Can we do that? Antoine Fagans had a chance to go one-on-one with Taylor Korn last night. You can get that on our social media platform on Uncorked and Next Round Live. Go check that out on YouTube. See the entire interview. Here is Taylor talking with Antoine right after his commitment last night.
You mentioned in a previous interview when you were asked about Coach Freeze, you said he's just going to let you be you. Can you talk a little bit about your relationship with both him and Charles Kelly?
My relationship with Coach Freeze is very little to none. You know, me and him, we built the relationship since he first came in. The first day he came in, he told me he's going to come get me, and we're staying in the state. And with Coach Kelly, my relationship is it's like a mini version of a father and son duo, because you know he been knowing me since I was in like 7th or 8th grade. You know, he coached my brother when he was at Alabama. You know, so it was the relationship's good.
A couple of weeks ago, I was able to talk to Alvin Henderson, and he said if Auburn fans knew what I knew right now, they would be going crazy.
Go live.
And he predicted that the 2025 class would end up being ranked in the top 5. Can you share what your expectations are for where your recruiting class?
Okay, that's Taylor talking with Fagans last night. About to check in live with EG down at UAB, but that's a little snippet of what has Auburn now at number 6 in the recruiting rankings. Ohio State 1 because of a couple of flips. Alabama drops to number 2, as Alabama fans were pointing out last night. Still way different than everyone projected where Kalen DeBoer and company would be sitting as camp opens up. Number 2 in the nation in recruiting, with some more commitments coming out for them as well. So everybody's good in state in recruiting. We'll check in with EG live down at UAB in just a second. The show being brought to you by the folks that bring us Lance's Lock every day, the folks at Hemphill, lanceslock.com, Hemphill Services.
Yeah, 205-229-2090, Adam, Chad, Andrew, the guys there. If you've got issues with your plumbing, heating, or cooling issues, we've obviously got cooling issues in our building today here. Have these guys come out. 205-229-2090. Adam, Chad, Andrew, the guys there. Hard to stop a train. For more information, hemphillservices.com.
All right. So Emily Grace McWhorter is going EG on campus, rolling through the start of camps all over the state. Starts off today at UAB. Got on the field at 9 a.m. Central today. So let's bring Emily Grace in right now down at the UAB complex, the Legacy complex downtown Birmingham. EG, first set the scene. We got some UAB questions for us, but tell us what it's like to be back at football.
Yeah, what's up, guys? So you guys are going to be my eyes. Whatever is happening behind me, I can't see. It feels like I'm back on the sideline. Let me know if someone is coming towards me. But it's awesome. It's fun to be back. You can feel that football is in the air, and this is Trent Dilfer's second season in this fall camp role. So it's just fun. And how is it that we're already at fall camp? It doesn't feel real.
Yeah, I know it doesn't.
Hey, so when you talk to the coaches there, like if we're looking at one big position battle to keep an eye on for the Blazers, what direction would you go, EG?
Well, there's a few. Obviously, we want to talk about Jacob Zeno, of course, but the tight end group is something for me that I have my eye on, specifically in Jack Nichols, the Michigan State transfer they brought in. And that's a position group that really didn't lose much depth as some of the other positions. So it'll be interesting to see. You have a veteran, 2 guys there, and then you have Jack Nichols from Michigan State. And it's going to be interesting. That's what I'll have my eye on this fall for sure.
Also, some staff changes, though, EG. The good news is Alex Mortensen is still there, the offensive coordinator, because that's what they were the best at last year was offense. But Trent Dilfer had to make some staff changes, too.
And he did. And one thing that was a point of emphasis was the offensive line. It was shaky at times, just wasn't up to the caliber. So they promoted Matt McCanns internally, and he says he's really excited for that role. But that's also another group to keep an eye on. You mentioned that the offense is really the only thing that UAB really did right. The defense is going to be one of those make or break things. A lot of UAB fans, they're wondering if fall camp can prove that the defense is up to the caliber it needs to be. The transfer portal did help with that. They're adding depth there, specifically in the secondary. I want to say 6 guys came in to help bolster the backside of that defense.
Yeah, I'm wondering about, we were just talking Auburn and Alabama recruiting. What about UAB recruiting, both with the high schoolers and the portal? This is, I would imagine, some new faces.
Yes, lots of new faces, 49 to be exact. And one thing that Trent Dilfer is doing that's a little bit of a change up from the Bill Clark era is that he's utilizing more of the transfer portal, right? So he's not just going to that high school group, but it has been kind, specifically in that depth position, right? They're bringing people in that want to play with physicality. That was severely lacking. And their schedule this season, guys, it can go either way. You have people saying that they could have 9 wins, they could have 7 wins. There's a game, though, I'm circling, and that is Arkansas week 3 on the road. UAB has got to learn how to win on the road, and that's going to be a really big test to see exactly what they've got. Week before, they'll be in Louisiana at ULM. So I will have the Arkansas game circled to see if Sam Pittman's guys can hold up to what's behind me right now.
Okay, EG on campus at UAB. Heat index today 105 here in the Birmingham area. If you're watching us around the country, how thankful you think they are for that roof over your head right now?
Oh my goodness, this is incredible. So quick little input. Georgia Southern just made something like this, and I think it's actually modeled after this setup. I was a little skeptical to see how cool it would be inside, but it really is. Anne-Marie, our intern, is with me, and she was just saying how thankful that we are that we're inside right now, because it really does not feel very, very hot, but it is so humid. So when I get to Auburn on Friday and Alabama tomorrow, and I'm going to be feeling it because that is all outside.
All outside, unless they go to the indoor facility. But I like EG finding a way to work Georgia Southern in.
Yeah, always does.
Undefeated right there. Yes.
Enjoy it while you can, because they got to go play Troy soon, don't they?
They have to play Ole Miss. I think that's scarier.
That is scary.
Yeah, I would say so, yes.
Emily Grace McWhorter, EG on campus, says, football is back, man. Thank you, EG. We'll talk to you later. Yeah. I mean, she makes a great point, Lance and Brownie. It's weird to see football happen.
No, I agree. Like, I think, is high school practice already up?
It has to be, right? Because they usually start a week before football, right? I mean, a week before college.
I mean, again, once you get to that, I've always said it, once you get to that Hall of Fame game,
which
Thursday night,
50 plus hours away.
I know, cannot
Texans
wait.
And the Bears. But, we've been talking about we talk about football 365 days a year, but just being at SEC Media Days, that's when you know it's really, really close.
Yeah.
And that's a couple of weeks. Weeks in the rear view.
Yeah. I've historically talked about signpost, and SEC Media Days is one of those, like mile markers on a road. The Hall of Fame game is a big mile marker for me, because I feel like once I get there, there's generally football on 24/7 after that. All those preseason NFL games, the NFL Network will replay that I didn't get to watch. I flip on the NFL Network at any time and catch a game. So once I get to the Hall of Fame game, I'm fine.
Yeah, no, for me it's this week when camps open for college, because a lot of the recruiting now sort of moves to the back burner. All the off the field stuff moves to we start getting football news daily now. Sadly, we'll get some injuries over the next couple of weeks that could impact the season. We've already seen that in a couple of places in the NFL camp. All right, so we're off and rolling today. Big show ahead for you. EG on campus in Tuscaloosa tomorrow as Alabama opens up camp. They're reporting today she's in Auburn on Friday with Hugh Freeze and company as we get going. Inverness Country Club bringing you this part of the show today. Tell us about Inverness.
Find your sense of community at Inverness Country Club. They've got memberships that will fit absolutely everyone, from the social membership, the golf membership, beautiful course, currently expanding the driving range. Maybe you travel for work or pleasure. Ask about the Heritage Plus option, where you have access to courses at 37 other clubs around the country. Inverness Country Club, great place to meet others in the community. Maybe you've relocated or retired. Inverness is a great place to network. Childcare, also a big plus. Having dinner with friends, knowing your kid is safe on site, massive plus. Maybe you work from home. What about working from the club while they watch your kid? Whatever your interests are, you can find at Inverness. They even have a vineyard club. To take a tour of this unbelievable club, call Erin today. Tell her the next round sent you. 205-991-8608. That's 205-991-8608, or online, iccalabama.com.
Call the next round now at 205-734-0923.
Storm season is here. Make sure you have a plan of action in place right now. Greg from Pell City and Storm Restoration Roofing should be your first call when storms hit. Insurance companies love working with Storm Restoration Roofing because of Greg Nelson's name and reputation in the industry. When storms hit, call Greg Nelson. He's local, 205-542-3531. He's the home of the free no-cost roof inspection. Greg from Pell City on Facebook, 205-542-3531. It's Storm Restoration Roofing.
Stop by the New York Butcher Shop and pick up the finest in certified Angus prime beef steaks and burgers, premium pork chops, ribs, and all-natural chicken cut to order just for you. Their chef-prepared entrees and side dishes are the perfect dinner-to-go choice for your family and are ready to heat at home. With a great selection of fine wines and desserts, the New York Butcher Shop is your one-stop dinner shop. 2 locations to serve you, Cahaba Heights and on Highway 119 in Greystone, the New York Butcher Shop. Rare quality, well-done service. Hey, for all of your IT and printing needs, reach out to our friends at Xerox Business Solutions. Look, I'm still one of those old school guys. I print my notes every single day for the show. If you watch the show here on The Next Round, you see all the notes in front of me. From day one, Xerox Business Solutions, they've been with us here at The Next Round. Local for over 45 years. For all of your IT and printing needs, visit XeroxBusinessSolutions.com or call 205-969-3000. That's 205-969-3000.
Every day, someone is ridiculed and mocked for the clothing they chose to wear. It's a harsh reality we all must face. But you have the chance to change all of that with one visit to nextround.store. For just a few minutes of browsing, you will observe so many clothing options, from hats to hoodies to t-shirts. Please, for yourself or someone you love, go to nextround.store and embrace the warmth of true attire.
Hey, Lance Taylor from The Next Round to tell you about my friends at Michelson Laser Vision, located conveniently UAB Highlands. Almost 20 years ago, I went in for the procedure. Only took 12 minutes for both eyes. When I went in, I had 20/200 vision. I was legally blind. Now I have 20/15 vision, still 19 years later. Make the call today. Schedule a hassle-free consultation. 969-8100. Dr. Mark Michelson, Dr. Jen Michelson, Michelson Laser Vision. Make sure you tell them The Next Round sent you. 969-8100 or MichelsonLaserVision.com.
A legendary coach once said, "It's not the will to win that matters. It is the will to prepare to win." Hi, I'm Bobby Humphrey, Vice President of Business Development for Bryant Bank, and I can tell you that our Bryant bankers have the dedication and experience to put together a financial game plan that is right for you. At Bryant Bank, we specialize in community banking and offer personal and business loans, checking and savings account, mobile banking, and treasury management services. Stop by one of our 18 offices across the state of Alabama to find out what unbeatable service and legendary results are all about.
At some point today, Michigan could be getting a notice of allegations back to the Connor Stallions thing. The Stallions part of that's the only level 1 violation they're expected to get. Several coaches on that staff the last couple of years could get level 2 violations. No current staffer expected to be named in the NCAA notice of allegations. Some people are saying this could rise up to maybe a 1-year postseason ban. But if it gets to that level, Michigan would fight it and likely settle for just a fine. So I don't think we're to the point where we'll ever ban a Big Ten, SEC, Power 4 team from postseason ever again.
I was going to say, I thought the days of the postseason ban and TV ban were over with.
Oh, I think they are over with.
Yeah, they need to be.
You know, does the NCAA really have that power now?
I wouldn't think so. I mean, I think easily you beat that down in court.
Yeah, well, I mean, if they tell you, hey, look, we're going to have a postseason ban for the next year or two, you tell them to go kick rocks. I mean, what are they really going to do?
Like right now, I don't think the NCAA, based on what they have spent in court, is looking for any more court dates. Yeah. So I think they're probably going to try to do the path of least resistance and stuff like that just to avoid having to go to court again.
25 days until week 0. Hydra Live bringing you part of the show here. Hey, as he tells us about Hydra Live, do you have Dylan Gabriel ready? Forrester, you do? Cut 10, Rockstar. We'll get to that coming up.
Hydra Live Therapy, 2 great locations in Birmingham, the original in Homewood, now Highway 119 in Greystone, a Tuscaloosa location. They're popping up all over the place. Make sure you mention The Next Round, and you're going to get 20% off any of the great services from the IV therapy, B12 injections, cryotherapy, compression therapy. It's all under one roof. IV therapy treatments packed with nutrients to increase energy, reduce stress and anxiety, boost your immune system, and much more. hot out there. You want to stay hydrated. If you're playing golf today, go get a bag before or after. Again, 2 great locations locally, one in Tuscaloosa. For more information, hydrolifetherapy.com.
I was sick last week and went and got a bag yesterday afternoon just to get back to even. Feel totally different today. Oregon's in camp. They've reported to camp. Dillon Gabriel had a chance to talk to the media. He enters camp with everything going his way. He's the Heisman favorite, but not everything in his life is okay right now. He had to put his 6-month-old puppy down over the weekend, and Dillon Gabriel started off this camp with a little sad commentary about losing his pet.
Heartbroken. I think you just go through life and you learn a lot. And like I said, it's just perspective. You just got to gain it and, trust, God's plan. I think I've always tried to live a life of hoping that I'd just be on that course, at least close to it. And if that's, something that, we've kind of had to go through, then, so be it. But, yeah, I think when you have friends in your life, even if it's a furry friend, they make you smile a bunch. And in a hectic world, I guess it slows it down for you. I got him a week before spring ball, which is crazy enough. A week before fall camp, he passed. But, yeah, I don't know. I think if it can shed light on, the being vulnerable and just, showcasing that, we all go through things. And I think it's changed my perspective too, that, just people who go through, loss and grieve, I think they are shy and scared to love. So it makes me more, on edge of spreading my arms and trying to bring people in and love them up as much as you can. Because like I said, this life, you want to love hard and enjoy every second. That's why there's emotion and passion and not only life, but football, So I choose to still lead with my heart.
Major stomach issues that prevented the doctors from saving the puppy there 6 months as he starts off camp.
That's awful. I was a big Dillon Gabriel fan since I saw him early on in Orlando for Central Florida. A really, really good college quarterback. A lot of people don't even realize last year with 10 wins at Oklahoma, he was 3rd in QBR. Now he goes in to play for Will Stein. And say what you want, like Bo Nix was a very average quarterback before he headed to Oregon. You guys would give me that, right?
Oh, 100%.
And he blew up in this system. And now you get Dillon Gabriel, who I've never considered average, and he gets an opportunity to play with those weapons. But that is a heartbreaking story, man. And, God, that's tough.
Yeah, so that's how Dillon Gabriel starts off, but, using it as a positive to embrace and love harder. The quarterbacks that will change, specifically the Big Ten and the ACC, likely coming from other places. Dillon Gabriel there at Oregon. We talk about Will Howard at Ohio State, Will Rogers at Washington, Tyler Van Dyke at Wisconsin. I mean, LT, if we get Tyler Van Dyke from his first year when he came onto the scene at Miami, that Alabama Week 3 game could be a lot tougher than people are expecting, and Wisconsin could be a tougher out than people are expecting.
Look, I think Luke Fickell's a really good coach. I mean, he was a guy that took a Group 5 to a 14 playoff with Cincinnati, well documented there. I think he's one of these guys that has really grown as a head coach when he was kind of thrown into the mix, that Band-Aid year for Ohio State where they go 6-6. But he brings in Phil Longo last year, and that was such a weird offense to watch because you're so used to just seeing Wisconsin and their boring offense just lining up and run 5 yards every single carry. It just really didn't work out for Tanner Mordecai, at least to the level they wanted it to. But I think in year 2, I think things will slow down a little bit. And I expect Tyler Van Dyke. I think Wisconsin's one of these sleepy teams this year that nobody's talking about. I think they could be 8-9 wins good.
Yeah. And that starts with quarterback, Browning.
4th in the league in passing last year. You mentioned Lance, but here's the problem. Only 14 passing touchdowns.
How many interceptions?
5. Yeah. I mean, 5 is not bad, but when you only have 14 passing touchdowns, only Rutgers, Nebraska, and Iowa were worse in that category in the Big Ten. And Iowa, you expect to be there. You saw Nebraska's quarterback issues, and Rutgers is Rutgers.
You know what you typically don't see at Wisconsin? Elite receivers.
You really don't. Like, I'm trying to who was the they had a stud receiver. He went on to the NFL.
Altoon
played at Wisconsin.
Since then, that was the 80s.
That's the only Wisconsin receiver I can name you.
They had a big guy, Lance, who's like a big body receiver, and he went to I'll find him. They had one. I promise you they had one.
Yeah. Aiden Childs is at Michigan State from Oregon State, right? He follows his coach there to Michigan State. Michigan State Rutgers could be two teams to watch as playoff eliminators. They could be a team that could sneak up and knock somebody out of that playoff contention at some point.
I think that's exactly what those teams are this year, especially Rutgers. Because, Shiano's had a little bit of time to build that. For Jonathan Smith, I think it's going to take a little bit more time. Was really good at Oregon State. And, unfortunately, that was the domino effect of the Pac-12 dissolving. Jonathan Smith never would have left Oregon State. And now really has to go because, how feasible is Oregon State in the grand scheme of things? Had to go to and get a Big Ten job at Michigan State. I think Jonathan Smith's a tremendous coach. I think it's going to take a little bit of time to get it back on track, though.
Yeah, Lee Evans was the guy I was thinking of. You remember Lee Evans? Right?
He was a burner.
Again.
Playing for the Bills.
Yeah. Thank you, Michael. Quintez Cephas, Daniel said.
Yeah, that's not who I was thinking of. It was definitely Lee Evans. So you're right. Seeing that. But with Jonathan Smith, the guy can obviously coach. I just don't know what Michigan State's spot is in the Big Ten, though.
Yeah, but spoiler, guerrilla warfare, ambush.
Yeah, I think that's about it. I don't know that Michigan State will finish in the top 4 of the Big Ten in the next decade.
Yeah. Well, there's a guy named Kelly Ford that's got a graphic. I'm not going to use it here for us, but later on, he has put a graphic together of how LT tells us this team's going to be favored in this many games. He has done a graphic of all the Power 4 and Notre Dame of how many upsets your team has to pull to make the playoffs.
Okay.
And a couple of them don't have to pull any, obviously.
Right, sure.
Right? They just have to win the ones they want. We'll talk about that graphic a little bit later on. But you think the Big Ten is going to be shaken up by new quarterbacks. How about the ACC? You got Cam Ward at Miami. You got DJ Uiagalelei at Florida State. Kyle McCord, remember, Ohio State quarterback, is now at Syracuse, who I keep forgetting is in the ACC too.
Yeah, and remember, Fran Brown takes that program over, and he learned to recruit under a guy named Kirby Smart.
Yeah.
And he's brought some portal guys in, too.
Yeah, and he's brought portal guys in. I don't know what the expectation should be at Syracuse, but there are people that are saying he's making a little bit of noise.
Yeah, so they could play the role of spoiler of some of these playoff teams. Malik Murphy, remember that name, is at Duke.
Yep.
And Grayson McCall is at NC
State. And I think that is an upgrade. Like last year when you looked at NC State, coming into the season, Dave Duran has always got a really good defense, but I thought NC State would be better because Brennan Armstrong just wasn't good last year. And watching some of the heroics he pulled last minute at Virginia and some really tight games, he just wasn't that player last year. But I think Grayson McCall, with all of his experience, I would think we just had a clip from Dylan Gabriel. Dylan Gabriel's probably the most experienced quarterback in college football, and Grayson McCall would be right there with him.
That was the portal favorite for a lot of people. A lot of people go get Grayson McCall. I heard a lot of Auburn fans that wanted Grayson McCall out of Coastal in the portal. And he ends up at NC State. And I would put NC State in the same category as Michigan State. I think they'll be better than Michigan State, but I think NC State can be spoiler in the ACC, much like SMU can.
We have NC State 25th in our 40 and 40 countdown.
I had them higher.
Rookie,
I think NC State's a team that could actually play for the ACC championship.
Could get into the championship game. And I don't disagree with you. They could be that big of an upgrade there at quarterback and a good coach there. The SEC is the one place where new quarterbacks don't seem to be, or at least transfer quarterbacks seem to be making the biggest impact. The one biggest one is Brock Vandagriff, who's the quarterback at Kentucky. Now, Kentucky could be a pretty good team with an upgrade at quarterback in Vandagriff. They could be a spoiler on somebody, knock somebody out of the playoff hunt.
Well, we've been waiting for one of these Kentucky, even Will Levis, when you heard he was a first-round quarterback, which he is now the starting quarterback for the Tennessee Titans, he couldn't even put up numbers in that system. If I'm a Kentucky fan, I just look at what Graham Mertz was able to do in year one at Florida. Wasn't a good season, obviously, for the Florida Gators, but he completed 73% of his passes, 20 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. If I can just get that kind of production from Brock Vandagriff with the defense Kentucky typically brings, you're going to be just fine.
And the running game they usually bring with them, too.
You talk about them being spoilers. They got 3 shots at it. Playoff spoilers.
One of them is Georgia.
At home, and it is week 3.
Yep, so early.
I don't know if that's good or bad. Get it early. It hasn't mattered where Kentucky has played Georgia. They've never been able to get over that hump.
But at that point, Georgia's already played Clemson. They've got Alabama on the horizon.
Yep. At Ole Miss, week 5, same day that Alabama and Georgia play. Week 5, Kentucky is at Ole Miss. And then at Texas, the week before rivalry week, which could be the dreaded look-ahead game. Let's see who Texas has before that, because I know they got Texas A&M after.
Boy, those Ole Miss and Texas games, if they were just in Lexington, how scary would that be for both those teams? But specifically Texas, before they would have to go to College Station.
Texas is at Arkansas, come home to Kentucky at College Station. According to Lance, they're going to be facing Bobby Petrino's Arkansas Razorbacks.
Hey, but that is such a big rivalry game. I mean, on paper, that doesn't look like a tough stretch, but that's a tough little stretch.
Yeah, so we're calling trap game. Is that classic trap game for you, Kentucky? Yeah.
I looking at Kentucky's schedule, though, man. It's one of those, we talk about how difficult the schedule is for Florida and for Oklahoma. I mean, for Kentucky, though, to have Georgia that early, to have to go to Ole Miss, to go to Florida, who's going to be fighting every week in, week out for Billy Napier's life, to host Auburn, to go to Tennessee, to go to Texas, and then you've got Louisville.
Well,
that's a pretty brutal schedule.
I mean, Kentucky dumped the East schedule, and they end up with still Georgia, and you add Auburn, Ole Miss on the road, Texas on the road.
Yeah.
I want the East schedule back if I'm Georgia.
Yeah.
I mean, if I'm Kentucky, I like to end Georgia.
Where's my Vandy? Where's my South Carolina?
They still play Vandy in South Carolina. It's wild, though, but they add Ole Miss, Auburn, and Texas. I mean,
where's my Florida?
Well, see, and I think there's 4 games that they can't win on their schedule. So, like, if everything goes right in the other games and the swing games, they're 8-4 best case scenario.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a step back year for Stoops.
Yeah, that's a readjustment when you've got 16 now.
Yeah,
16 strong in the SEC. One more thing to get to in this segment here, brought to you by our friends at Way to Wellness. Your journey to healthy living. Listen, weight loss, big part of what Way to Wellness does, but also controlling the way food in your body reacts throughout life, whether it's blood pressure numbers, cholesterol numbers. I got a checkup yesterday, blood pressure, cholesterol in a great place thanks to Way to Wellness. Go to their website at planforme.com, planforme.com, to see all the great things that they can do for you. No cookie cutter plan. You see Lunceford and Melton there at their Way to Wellness evaluation. They've lost over 100 pounds right now. I lost 45 once in my life and still working on my blood pressure and cholesterol numbers with Way to Wellness. That's part of a free evaluation you get when you go to a planforme.com. And our plans are all different. No cookie cutter plan, everything designed for you. The program overseen by board certified professionals, no contracts, no sign-up fees. And as I said, that consultation's free. The website, again, is a planforme.com, It's Way to Wellness, your journey to healthy living. Good news here. I think LT would think this is good news. Notre Dame saying yesterday, despite all the changes going on, that at least from Notre Dame's side, they're all in on making sure Notre Dame and USC continues their rivalry forever. They do not want to end Notre Dame USC ever.
Yeah, I don't know why you would. And unfortunately, I think a lot of this is going to get pinned on Lincoln Riley. Like Lincoln Riley trying to escape, Oklahoma because he didn't want to deal with the SEC, trying to get out of the LSU. Now it looks like trying to get out of Notre Dame as Marcus Freeman continues to build this up. But I didn't see anybody allowing this thing to go away. It is one of the great rivalries in college football. When you look at the history of college football, like the repercussions from that game recently haven't really meant that much. But when you look at the grand scheme of things in the history of college football, that's a big rivalry.
Look, I agree with what you're saying, but it is super easy for Notre Dame to say this. Far easier for Notre Dame to say this than Lincoln Riley. To defend Lincoln Riley for a moment, and a lot of people like to line up and take shots at him, and I've been one. What he was saying the other day is, we've got a Big Ten schedule now that is going to be far more demanding than what we used to play. We've got to schedule to make the playoffs. We've got to see what that's like. And he even said, Nick Saban figured it out. And I want to figure it out too. And it might mean we sacrifice the Notre Dame game. It might not. I don't know. Those are essentially his words, not his direct quote. If you're Notre Dame, it's easy to say, oh, yeah, we want to keep playing USC. You know why? Because they can schedule Army before them and Western Michigan after them. Unless it's the last game of the year, then it doesn't really matter. Then they take a bye week before it if they want to. Notre Dame controls their schedule. USC doesn't. So it's easy for Notre Dame to say, yeah, we'll keep playing the USC series. Of course you will. You could schedule anybody you want if you're Notre Dame. USC, they're handcuffed by the Big Ten.
Most likely landing destination if Notre Dame's ever in a conference, I still believe, is the Big Ten.
Probably.
So I think the rivalry will take care of itself before it goes away. I think Notre Dame would join the Big Ten. I don't think they will ever not play USC.
I would tend to agree. I think Notre Dame USC will live forever. But again, I don't think Notre Dame would ever choose to end it. There's no reason for them to. USC would be the one that would have reason to end it if they ever did.
I guess we probably thought Texas A&M would never go away, and it was gone for, 12 years?
Yeah.
13 years,
and it
whatever
required
it
them
is.
going back into the same conference.
I would have thought we would have seen Notre Dame in a conference before we would see a 12-team playoff. I would have thought we would see Notre Dame in a conference before we would see NIL.
Yeah. all great points. Some of those things I didn't even know would ever exist. Jay still believes Notre Dame will join the ACC, smaller fish in that pond. I don't know.
I think they probably make more money right now independently than they would as an ACC member.
Yeah, Big Ten's the only place. And I think if I remember the Fox contracts, there is a carve-out for more money if Notre Dame was to join that conference there. And you already have CBS and NBC, part of the broadcast partners there. No talk of that anytime going into this season. Football teams on the field this week. Football news continues throughout the show. Some NFL stuff when we roll on, and a lot more on a show that's being brought to you today by our friends at Bud Light. Easy to drink, easy to enjoy. We're in the beautiful Birmingham Racecourse Casino Studios today. Glad to be with you here on the next round. A lot more coming up on the other side. This is TNR.
Follow Jon Lunceford on Twitter @jlunce.
This hour of The Next Round is presented by the Birmingham Racecourse Casino, now featuring 7 days of giveaways with your chance to win a share of up to $125,000. The more you visit the Birmingham Racecourse Casino, the more chances you have to win.
Twin Peaks is the best in the game. Here, you're in the red zone for every college rivalry and divisional matchup all season long. On game day, you never have to decide which teams to watch, only what combination of bites, burgers, wings, and more to order. Plus, where else are your favorite draft beers always poured at a frozen 29 degrees? Only at Twin Peaks, the #1 sports bar.
Stick around after the sun sets. Twin Peaks is open really late. Wind down with bourbon and late night bites. Only at Twin Peaks.
If renting is putting a dent in your bank account, here's your sign from the universe that it's time to buy a new home. And who better to help you through the ins and outs of home buying than our friends at Mortgage Right. With Mortgage Right, you don't have to worry about becoming a short notice mortgage expert because they do all the heavy lifting for you. They're trusted mortgage professionals, and they'll help you choose the right mortgage option and stand by your side every step of the way. Visit mortgageright.com/TNR to buy before renting runs you dry. That's mortgageright.com/TNR. NMLS 2239, Equal Housing Lender. For a great experience in golf, go to Bent Brook, just off I-459 in the Birmingham area. You've got 27 holes where you can play your 18 holes 6 different ways. Open 7 days a week with 5 sets of tees that makes golf enjoyable for any level golfer. You get complimentary GPS on every golf cart, and the AU Victory bent grass greens play as pure as any in the area. Bent Brook continues to improve with upgraded greens and redesigned holes. Book that next tee time right now. BentBrook.com. BentBrook.com.
The World Wide Web is a large place. Find all your favorite people and content in the same spot. NextRoundLive.com is full of wonderful tidbits about the show you know and love. Find our gear, listen to your favorite personalities, follow our socials, and enjoy your trip to NextRoundLive.com.
Hey, Lance Taylor from the Next Round to tell you about my friends at Michelson Laser Vision, located conveniently UAB Highlands. Almost 20 years ago, I went in for the procedure. Only took 12 minutes for both eyes. When I went in, I had 2200 vision. I was legally blind. Now I have 20/15 vision, still 19 years later. Make the call today. Schedule a hassle-free consultation. 969-8100. Dr. Mark Michelson, Dr. Jen Michelson, Michelson Laser Vision. Make sure you tell them the Next Round sent you. 969-8100 or MichelsonLaserVision.com.
Maybe you follow us on Instagram, Facebook, X, LinkedIn, or TikTok while we're changing the game yet again. Tyler's Telegrams has been developed exclusively for you.
Hi, this is the lovable boy you know as Tyler the Intern. I'm a businessman now. I will come directly to your door and tell you every time a new piece of TNR content drops. For the low, low price of $740,000, you can be notified by me, one of the biggest stars of the Next Round, about that thing you missed. Sure, the rest of those social media services are free, but so is radio, and we all know how well that's trending.
Tyler's Telegrams is currently operating exclusively in Bibb County. Other social media platforms are available everywhere.
Really interesting move by the Braves last night. Trade deadline counting down today in Major League Baseball. They're bringing back a couple of stars from that 2021 World Series championship team. Jorge Soler. Did I come close on the name?
Soler.
Yeah. Jorge Soler comes back, and he was the MVP in the World Series in 2021. Yeah,
I mean, a guy that's still got a lot of pop. I mean, doesn't hit for average, but just last week hit the longest home run in the majors this year. Familiar face. I think Braves fans are excited at least about having another power guy in that lineup.
Do you remember that home run he hit against the Astros in Houston? I thought it was probably the longest home run I'd ever seen. Now, people told me it wasn't even the hardest one he'd hit that year. But that was a freaking missile up on the railroad track.
Yeah.
I mean, he destroyed that ball.
He's a guy that when he came to the Braves back in 2021 had about the same numbers he has right now, and then caught fire and was really good in the postseason. Luke Jackson comes back. He was part of the 2021 team as well that won the championship. They come from the Giants. You don't give up too much. A couple of prospects for them, and so that's the Braves' move there, getting a bat and a middle reliever there to try to get ready for the postseason. Keep in mind, they'll get Harris and Albies and Fried back before the postseason playoffs start. So that'll almost be like additions there when you get those three guys
I was
back.
talking with EG and Us yesterday before they did their show, and I've talked to some other Braves fans, and it seemed like the general consensus among Braves fans were don't do anything right now. And the reason being is you just won a world championship a few years ago. It's not like you hadn't won one in 30 years. And you've got a roster locked in pretty long term that is going to be competing for the world championship for years to come. Don't panic right now.
Yeah, really. I mean, the only thing that's derailed this year has been injuries.
Yeah.
Now, in 2021, it was the same thing, and they ended up winning a World Series. I agree with Daniel over in the mybookie.ag. Ronaldo being day-to-day with that forearm stiffness, leading the majors right now in ERA. I mean, if he was to go on the DL, that was going to be a big deal.
But luckily they are...
Looks like he's escaped that.
Yeah, luckily they're in a situation where he can rest it, and it's not going to really change their position. They've got padding in the wild card and big gap for the division, so they're a wild card team. So they've got a chance here to pad it and get ready and rest him up and try to be as healthy as possible when we get to the baseball postseason. We roll on with Paul Skeens as well. Paul Skeens gets his 100th strikeout last night in just his 13th game. That's an amazing number.
Yeah, his numbers, again, if he can just stay healthy, that's the only thing you worry about if you're a Pirates fan.
I don't know if that's a rookie record, fastest to 100.
It is, I think, and especially with a sub-2 ERA.
Yeah, but 100 strikeouts in your career in 13 games. That seems pretty impressive.
I mean, 6-1 with a 1.90 ERA and 103 Ks. I mean, that's crazy.
Not that the Pirates are on a ton, but boy, if they're on and he's pitching, he's must-see, isn't he?
Oh, he is, yeah.
And he's a draw to the gate. You watch when he's pitching, the stands home and away are full. JohnstonRVCenter.com getting you ready for football season to hit the road.
I-65 exit 304 in Coleman, 334 in Decatur is where you find Johnston RV Center. And what you'll find there is both lots having been totally repriced. They are so confident in their pricing, in fact, that they will give you a nationwide price guarantee. They'll beat any price nationwide. That is their guarantee on a comparable RV. You just bring them the price, they'll beat it. They'll also make sure you've got that lifetime warranty on everything new and qualifying previously owned. You can find out more at Johnston RV Center. I-65, exit 304 in Coleman, exit 334 in Decatur. Always online, johnstonrvcenter.com.
A couple of really cool things happening at the Olympics today. One of them is the game we all played in our driveway, because most people, I didn't even have a driveway, but those that did had one goal. And you played the old, you play 3-on-3, 2-on-2, and you'd have to take it back past the line.
Half-court basketball?
Yeah, you have to take it back if you got a rebound and then come back
Unless
and
it was
shoot.
an air ball. If it was an air ball, you'd have to take it back.
And it's called they officially on the broadcast call it 3x3, but it's 3-on-3 basketball is what it is. And the guy who leads the Americans, Jimmer Fredette, is the big star.
I cannot imagine just how deadly he can be. Because if you've ever played in these 3-on-3 tournaments, we used to do it back in the day, you get some really good open looks. And you give that guy an open look, he ain't missing. I just don't know why we would put this in part of the Olympics. Why not part of the X Games?
Yeah, I didn't know 3-on-3 was an Olympic sport now. But
I'm not even watching basketball in the Olympics.
You played that Hoop It Up, right? That 3-on-3?
Yeah.
And you brought in a college ringer too, didn't you?
We did. Yeah, we brought in Joe Ross Merritt. Yeah, and he was fantastic.
Yeah.
But the problem with those 3-on-3 tournaments back in the day was a bunch of ex-college players like Joe Ross. then you got a bunch of bums like us.
Yes.
But I'm interested to see these. The only thing, I really don't care about watching it, but I want to see what the rosters look like. Who else is on the Americans? Do you know?
We have a kid from Princeton, no shocker.
Okay.
You know, we got an Ivy
Can
League
shoot.
kid that can
Yeah.
shoot.
Yeah.
And,
Gym rat.
I don't know anyone else. I
Coach
just
on
saw
the floor?
I just saw the Jimmer Fredette. I know you guys are out on the Olympics. Jimmer Fredette was a name I thought would wake up some echoes for our viewers and for you guys.
Yeah,
to
I had
talk
no
about
idea
him.
where he was.
Yeah, he's leading the Americans today. 12-second shot clock. I thought it was 12 o'clock. I don't know when it's on and what time today when you can watch it.
Dude, 12 that's quick.
12 seconds.
12 second
Yeah.
shot clock?
Yeah, and you play to 21, just like you did in your backyard. 1 point for any basket, 2 if it's behind the arc instead of 3. 21 is what you play to. We used to call it 21, I think is what we call it. Let's play 21.
Did you have to win by 2?
I had to win by 2.
Had to win by 2.
Yeah, do you still have to do that in the Olympics? Got to win by 2?
It says if it's tied at 21 or when the clock runs out, you play the next person scores 2. So maybe that's the way it works. Team finals for the women's today at just after 12. And we do get the men 2 o'clock against the deadly South Sudanese today, 2 o'clock on the USA Network.
Hey, they're 1-0.
Yeah, so we'll see if South Sudan can shock the world today as that goes on. Congratulations to the men's gymnastics team, first medal since 2008. They won bronze. And what was really cool yesterday, I was watching some of this on replay at lunch, but the Joker and Nadal played each other for the 60th time in their career. And Nadal could not beat him yesterday because I was cheering for Nadal to win. If Nadal had won, it's likely their last meeting ever. They would have ended their career 30-30. But Joker got him 31-29.
Wow.
They played each other. They're shells of themselves now. Joker's still a lot more, closer to his prime than Nadal was. But that great rivalry, one of the great tennis rivalries of all time, and they end up head-to-head 31-29.
Now, since they're in France, was it on clay?
It was on clay. They're playing at Roland Garros.
Oh, so they're at the same place. Okay.
Yeah, that's where Nadal.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Is he used to dominate there?
Yeah.
So in the
didn't lose.
No, he did not. Wearing the capris.
Yeah. So I know when he
I
first
knew
on,
that's why you were pulling for him.
Yeah.
He's in capris.
Yeah. He still had him on, balding head with the headband. Can't beat that.
Just real quick, Rick Barry's kids on that team. There's only 4 guys on that team.
Yeah,
so if you had two injuries, you'd have a problem, wouldn't you? Yeah.
It's a numbers game after that.
Yeah.
You'd have to tap somebody in.
Yeah. So you could sub in. So Rick Barry's kid? That kid's
Canyon Barry. Kareem Maddox, Dylan Travis, and Jimmer Fredette.
Are we the favorites? Do you know?
I don't know. I think we won silver, according to this, in the last Olympic Games. But with Jimmer, I'm sure.
Did Jimmer not play for us last time?
I don't know.
I don't think he was on an NBA team last time. Show being brought to you by our friends at Odie's. One more thing to get to before we get to the top of the hour here. Tell us about our friends at Odie's.
Yeah, tomorrow night, Odie's Team Trivia. We do that at the original location in Crestline every single Wednesday. The newest location in Edgewood. Both locations, incredible food from Rodney Davis. Award-winning wings, delicious burgers, great sandwiches like that Diablo sandwich, ice-cold beer buckets full of the Bud Light. Get into one of those 2 locations today. Live music every weekend as well. It's Odie's Tavern.
11:15 NBC for those asking the MyBookie.ag chat room. 11:15 on main NBC for the women's gymnastics finals. They'll replay it tonight in prime time. And the USA rugby women playing in the semifinals about to start right now on US main NBC as well on TV5 here in the studio. If they win, quick turnaround, play for the gold medal at 12:45. Those are really quick games. They were showing Derrick Henry at the Ravens camp, the rugby girl who had that long run and then stiff-armed the girl.
I saw that on social
no
media.
Pads, no helmets.
Yeah, she puts a girl in the dirt.
She does a very Derrick Henry stiff arm, and he went, "Ooh!" She wanted it bad, is what he said.
The best thing I've seen out of camp. Did you see the girl burn Tyreek Hill not once but twice?
Oh, I saw that on my TikTok. Yeah,
it was incredible. I mean, where he lines up as a corner,
right?
And first of all, her first move completely dekes him. And then the throw, you got to watch it. Okay. Like, I wonder if Forrester can find that for us, or I'll send it to you, Scott, and we can play that later in the show because you are going to die. It's almost like, did AI generate this? There's no way this actually happened.
So he's playing corner, she's playing receiver, and he doesn't tear his ACL, thank God.
No, can you imagine?
Yeah, I can. I'm a Dolphins fan. I mean, it was baked into the cake there.
Adrian Martinez from the Stallions is in Jets camp. 27 UFL players now in NFL camp. So we'll see how many make an opening day roster there. But the thing I wanted to get to before the top of the hour is we talk about Kalen DeBoer replacing Nick Saban, how different camp has been, for Alabama back in the spring. As the Patriots open up with Jared Mayo replacing Bill Belichick, sort of the same situation. Things are totally different. The players are talking about, for the first time ever at camp, they've got a players' lounge where they've got pool tables, ping pong tables, PlayStations to play video games, Madden in the college football game. And Mayo said, listen, when Coach Belichick was here, I started to notice when I was playing, others were playing. When we were done practicing, we were done working out, we were done meetings, we were all just at our lockers. We had no camaraderie. We would not spend time with each other at all. It was just business, 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 business. He says a lot of building a team is camaraderie, hanging out, doing things. And Mayo has put this players' lounge, and he says he's seen a change in the attitude in the locker room already.
Well, two things. Mayo's got to do it his way, so I do respect that. But on the other side, business, business, business. What did it win you? Championships. So. You can say that the camaraderie wasn't built back in the day, but the results were incredible and something we probably will never see again in the NFL unless Kansas City pulls a three-peat this year.
I saw Eugene Edelman doing a podcast with Matt Light, and Matt Light was talking about how pissed Belichick used to get at him because Matt Light didn't take it as serious as Belichick did. Was Matt Light any good?
Yeah.
Yeah, so Belichick was kind of handcuffed. He's like, this guy's really, really good. Like, Matt Light would go hunting before coming to practice. And, like, I can't remember what he had killed, but, I mean, it was like he had brought it in to show everybody, and Bill Belichick's like, you can't bring that in the complex. He's like, oh, Bill, settle down. And Belichick got so pissed at him because Matt Light went hunting before camp or something like that.
This is how quick Scott is. He's got the video of the girl.
Let me see it. Let me see Tyreek Hill not ending his career.
Watch this first move is absolutely incredible, and then the last move.
This is tight coverage, by the way. Tyreek, man press.
Right here.
Oh! I hope it's not Tua throwing because it's
watch this move. Boom.
Boom. Oh, wow. I mean, if he blew out his knee, Lance, do you know how pissed I'd be at that?
I mean, that was two incredible moves,
really
and then the concentration on the tip.
Yeah,
it's almost not believable though. But
it really isn't. But good for her. Again, hope Tua wasn't playing QB. Balls underthrown.
I mean, the what's better, the first or the last move?
This first move to get her open, because this is a move like Tyreek Hill would make. You would think he'd be ready for this one.
Yeah, Tyreek makes that. You ain't catching it.
Yeah, it doesn't matter how underthrown it is.
But
Tyreek's got it
here, back inside.
Yep. Oof.
I'd seen a different one from earlier, and that's twice I've seen Tyreek get burned on TikTok.
Hey, good thing he's playing offense.
I want everybody to remember he's a wide receiver, not a corner.
Top of the hour. We'll continue on the other side. 1 down, 2 to go on this show number 752, 25 days away from the start of college football, brought to you by our friends at Bud Light. Back in a moment on TNR.
Follow The Next Round on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at Next Round Live.
You could win a Cadillac CT5 or your share of $25,000 in free play and cash at Birmingham Racecourse Casino. The more you visit, the more chances you have to win. Play the latest, most exciting games around with fun bonuses and big jackpots. You can be a winner too. Come win your share during the Cadillac CT5 and $25,000 giveaway at Birmingham Racecourse Casino. Drawings April 5th and 6th. Located off I-459, exit 31, Derby Parkway. Must be 21 or older, must be present to win.
There is no better place to watch your favorite sporting events and enjoy great food than one of the 3 great Birmingham locations of Walk-Ons. The TVs are everywhere with your favorite sports, and the menu is second to none. From the great appetizers like the waffle cheese fries, to the Avery Island salad, handhelds like the all-new chicken bomber, bistro specialties with a special taste of the bayou, the amazing hand-patty burgers, the great po' boys, and the specialty drinks. Visit any of the 3 great Birmingham locations of Walk-Ons: Greystone, Stadium Trace and Hoover, and the brand new location in Trussville.
Are you tired of buying your CPAP mask and supplies online only to be disappointed? It's time to visit CPAP Plus, your locally owned and operated CPAP shop that prides itself on personal service. Come see what you're buying at CPAP Plus with 3 convenient locations in Pelham, Highway 280, and now open in Trustful. Drop by for a free CPAP checkup and free filters, no appointment needed. Plus, sign up for their giveaway for a chance to win a free travel CPAP machine. Just Google CPAP Plus or visit any of those 3 locations.
It's time to pull the trigger on the Next Round merch that you've been eyeing. We know there's a lot to choose from at nextround.store, so here's a few of our favorite picks. If you want to match LT and Brown, go with the TNR logo hoodie and throw in one of Dunaway's favorite hats. Any of them will do. The Backroom's go-to is the classic logo t-shirt, while my personal favorite is the light blue TNR crew neck. All of these items can be found at nextround.store and are EG approved. Rest assured, your order will be packed with lots of love from us here at the Next Round. Head over to nextround.store to start filling up your cart.
Hey, Lance Taylor from the Next Round to tell you about my friends at Michelson Laser Vision, located conveniently UAB Highlands. Almost 20 years ago, I went in for the procedure. Only took 12 minutes for both eyes. When I went in, I had 2200 vision. I was legally blind. Now I have 20/15 vision, still 19 years later. Make the call today. Schedule a hassle-free consultation. 969-8100. Dr. Mark Michelson, Dr. Jen Michelson, Michelson Laser Vision. Make sure you tell them the Next Round sent you. 969-8100 or MichelsonLaserVision.com.
Just because you've quit going to the gym, it doesn't mean that you have to quit gym altogether. Dunaway, that is. With our Next Round podcasts open 24/7, 365, you can access gym anytime you'd like. While you may have done away with your treadmill routine, our version of Dunaway is standing by ready to get you back to your absolute best. Find all that lovely Jimmy D-led content on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and in the podcast section of nextroundlive.com. This message is sponsored by Jimmy Crypto Inc. and Jimmy Crypto for President.
Jim Dunaway, Lance Taylor, Ryan Brown, and Rockstar. Live from the Birmingham Racecourse Casino Studios, The Next Round, presented by Bud Light, is on now.
Hour number 2 as we get rolling today. NFL camps continue on. We've already had Emily Grace McWhorter join us from UAB camp there on the field today. Out of the American Conference. Jack State in our immediate area was out yesterday. They're, of course, in Conference USA. EG will be in Tuscaloosa again tomorrow. She's there today. She'll be there again tomorrow for the start of Alabama camp. Auburn later this week as well as we get ready to count down to football. Camps are opening up. Helmets to start with, and then we'll get the pads on and start going. Pads are on in the NFL. A lot of football to talk about. A lot of heat to talk about in our area today. Heat index is going to be around 105 in the central Alabama area. So rain in a lot of parts of the South if you're watching us on the SEC footprint, but heat advisory in some as well. So be careful out there. That includes our buddy Greg from Pell City, who will be on the roof today somewhere, early and late, I hope. I hope he's not out there in the heat all day long, but he'll get on your roof for a free no-cost roof inspection. Greg from Pell City Storm Restoration Roofing will take care of you. Locally owned for over 20 years. Greg from Pell City's A+ rated with the Better Business Bureau. He has a great relationship with insurance agents, trusted by those guys. He gives you a free no-cost roof inspection. Free, no-cost roof inspection. He'll get up there and check out everything to see if you've got a water entry point or any damage up there you may not know about. He can handle that damage. He handles storm repairs and roof replacement. He does it all. It's our friends at Storm Restoration Roofing, 205-542-3531, 205-542-3531. A reminder, by the way, kickoff party happening a couple of weeks from Thursday, August the 15th. August the 15th, Brownie, we'll be back at Walk-Ons for our 4th kickoff party.
Yes, we will. Walk-Ons in Hoover, Stadium Trace, right off 150 and 459. Very easy to find. It's where we've done the last couple of years. I mean, doors are always open at Walk-Ons that time of day, but the party technically starts at 5. We know from experience you guys will be there before that.
And I got to ask yesterday, do you need tickets?
Nope. Absolutely free.
No tickets. And we will have some updates on different things we're going to be doing out there. Maybe some beverage specials, things like that. So working on that right now.
Ooh, like a good beverage special.
All that coming up. It's August the 15th, 5-ish until whenever-ish all coming up at Walk-On, so we look forward to that. Clay Travis scheduled to be with us right now, not with us yet. We'll get to him if that happens here shortly, as he is with us every week at this time, but not here with us right now, so we'll skip ahead and come back when needed. In college football news, Kirby Smart last week, you guys were talking about the latest incident with Ra Thomas, his second issue with that. Kirby, the first time, not kicking him off the team, indefinitely suspended now. There is some discussion now from guys like Matt Hayes of Saturday Down South. Does Kirby Smart, is he inching towards a modern-day Urban Meyer situation in Athens? Is there a concern for you that it could be all of this stuff that's happening away from football that ends up being the crack in the armor for Kirby Smart?
You know, we kind of talked about, and we brought up the Urban Meyer situation last week when we were talking about this. You know, you go back to programs that seemed like they were run kind of rogue. Urban Meyer in Florida, Art Briles, Baylor, Kirby Smart now, Georgia. What do they all have in common? A lot of success.
Yeah.
And, you know, I don't know what the answer is. I mean, you would love to, and I said this to Brown, and Brown agreed, like, okay, you can go 8-4 and never have an incident, or you can win national championships and every other guy's getting arrested. What do you want as a fan? You'll take the arrest, unfortunately. And so I think that lessens the blow a little bit. I don't know how you get control of the situation because it's so easy to walk. Like if you tell Ra, you know what, you're not playing, we're suspending you indefinitely, he can go somewhere else.
Let's workshop this idea here. Because I was talking with a Georgia fan at church Sunday, and he was joking about you and I having to lead the show with it. And, I mean, he was owning it. He's like, it's inexcusable. You know, I don't know.
Yeah.
And he said...
felony charge is
the
issue here.
Yeah, but he's like, you know, this is just one on top of another one. You just get tired of hearing it. At some point, as a Georgia fan, it's like, oh, my gosh, every morning I wake up, there's another player arrested. And he said, and I'm not just saying this for Georgia, this is for every program that runs into this. He goes, a lot of this started, and you hear this a lot, and I just wonder how much you guys believe this. A lot of this started when you got rid of the athletic dorms. You hear that a lot. And it's not, you don't hear it as much now because it's been so long since they got rid of the football dorms.
Well, that's been a long time.
It has been, hasn't it? But do you think there is some credence in that? And I'm getting to something. So, but first of all, do you think there's credence into that? Like if we had football dorms, and I'll just get to my point. Because he and I were talking about, he was like, as much money as these programs have now, do you know how nice those football dorms would be?
That's right. They wouldn't be like the old dormitory.
Yeah, but I still go back to it. If I've got NIL money, I want to live in a penthouse. You know, I mean.
I agree. But, I mean, if those.
You want your space.
There's not many penthouses in college towns. There are in some, you know, like Austin.
I'm just saying, I mean, most college towns now have really nice condo developments.
Yeah, I'm going to need my own space. I mean.
Well, that's fine. I mean, it'd be 105 rooms right now. It's a lot.
But Brown, we act like back then there were not problems because
there were.
You had sexual misconduct inside the football buildings. You had racing speeding issues back then.
People got arrested back then too.
Well, yeah, and a lot of things weren't reported back then. And obviously you don't have the accessibility to all the social media where everything is out there and everything's videoed. But back to the sexual misconduct, I mean, a lot of that stuff wasn't reported back in the day.
And I say this. If you've got 85 humans, it's going to be sort of a cross-section of the problems you have in the world. You've got 105 people in your football building that are players, and then all the coaches and the support staff. I mean, that's a lot of people. You can't have things that happen in the real world and then not expect them occasionally to happen inside a football program. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah, let me ask you this, though. What's your guess?
You got 85 people in one place. There's going to be somebody who may be abusive to a girlfriend or somebody.
There's abusive people, sociopaths,
So
there's racist. I mean, when you get that kind of numbers, I mean, you've got absolutely everything. But the problem, Brown, and I'll let you get to your point, is how do you have so many guys getting driving violations?
Because that's the weird cars.
Thing. It is, but that's the weird thing that it is that one thing over and over and over and over and over again.
Yeah, and sadly, this is the worst allegation you've got out there.
What, the Ra Thomas?
Yeah.
Oh, I agree 100%. But, you know, you've also had deaths within that program because of driving incidents.
I'll back that up a little bit.
Well, I mean, the driving incidences isolated, Lance, are far less than what Ra Thomas is accused
and that
of.
was a result of the action.
Yeah. But, you know, when you've had a death in it, involved with it with people in your program, you would think it is more of a heightened awareness of the situation. But I guess if you took 85 random people, if I allowed you to go pick 85 people at random, somewhat of a cross-section of society, and you give them more money and popularity than they've ever had somehow, would you say the percentage of arrest would be the same as a college football program? You understand my question?
I do.
Yeah, I think it would be.
I do.
So it's a function really of just society.
I'm trying to think of the biggest staff we ever worked with, and it was back at Jocks at Cumulus. And what do we have, roughly 50 employees, maybe?
50, yeah.
Yeah, I remember different things happening inside that building.
Absolutely. Clay Travis is with us now. I'll ask Clay that question. If he's the founder of Outkick, you see him on Fox at Clay Travis on Twitter. We were just talking about Georgia, Clay. If I allowed you to go pick 85 people at random, Clay, I'm just a random selection, somewhat of a cross-section of society, and somehow you could give them more money than they've ever had and more fame than they've ever had, do you think the 85 random people arrest would be the same amount as a college football program?
Oh, man. Well, the age, I think, would factor in.
Well,
right?
sure.
Because
Let's match age. Let's go 85 random people aged 18 to 22.
Yeah, I think so.
I think you're probably right. I think the general society arrest would be about the same as you get in a college football program.
Yeah, look, the analogy that I've always made, and I may have made it with LT, 15 years ago or whatever, is everybody thinks they wouldn't be the actor or actress who gets fame and wealth at a young age and completely spirals out of control. Most people would, right? Like your Leonardo DiCaprios of the world that are super famous from Titanic at 17 or 18 years old and then continue to drive themselves to perform at an incredibly high level. And look, I mean, you look at Leonardo DiCaprio's movies, most people who were 17 or 18 and were Leonardo DiCaprio would have spiraled out of control, would have never had a high level of success in whatever their chosen profession is. It's also the number one praise that I would give to LeBron James. For him to be whatever he is, 39 years old, I think about to be 40, have been famous basically since he's 16 years old for having an incredible talent at basketball, and to continue to drive and strive himself to be the best version of himself that he can be and not get fat, happy, lazy, in some way, I think is a credit to him. I've always made that kind of analogy between DiCaprio and LeBron. Everybody thinks that's who they would be if they had, those gifts, those talents. Most people would be Lindsay Lohan, right? I mean, and if you go back and you watch her acting, go watch Mean Girls. She's really talented, but she could have been, I think, incredibly successful. We'll see what happens with Sydney Sweeney, who is kind of a modern day version of Lohan. Is she going to end up, seems to be smart, making pretty good movies, but only 23, 24, whatever the heck she is? Is she going to keep making good career decisions, or is she going to spiral a bit out of control? I think those are the questions. And by the way, that's my thing with NIL. And I've talked to a lot of coaches about this. They don't begrudge guys getting money, right? Everybody tends to be capitalists. They're just like, man, when you give an 18-year-old on a college campus $500,000, you guys know it takes $50 on a college campus to have an amazing night. Now, maybe now it's $100 compared to when I was going out. But if I went out with, $30 in my pocket, I felt like I was rich. They're like the level of trouble that they can get into with $500K is not college level trouble, right? It's like pro athlete level trouble where you got hookers rolling in, where you got drugs, and you can imagine the party scene that might create for a kid that's not disciplined. I give credit to Jaylen Milroe. I love that when I read. I would love if my boys would do this. I doubt they will. But doesn't he get to the Alabama football complex every morning at 5 a.m.?
Yeah. The coaches have said they've had a tough time beating him there. Yeah.
Yeah. So, if you have to be somewhere at 5 a.m., I'll tell you right now, this is why a lot of coaches have early morning practices. It's hard to get in trouble if you have to be somewhere at 5 a.m. It just is.
Hey, you're right.
And that's the number one. I know I got up at 4:30 in the morning for 6 years, and I was in my 30s. You get somebody up early in the morning, you definitely think twice about the decisions you're making at 8 p.m., much less midnight.
How do you discipline now, though? And I go back to Mike Gundy with the Ollie Gordon, the DUI arrest, and he brings him straight to Las Vegas to Face the Music, media days. You can't really control players' social media. You suspend a player, they can walk. In NIL and the portal area, how do you really discipline as a head coach?
It's a great question. I think it's not only that they have the money and they have the assets. It's also that they can go somewhere else, right? I remember reading, and I'm using pop culture analogies, but somebody asked Matt Damon, he's like, why does every star get divorced? And he said, because as soon as things get a little bit hard, there's somebody who wants to make your life easy, and most people pick easy. And it takes somebody who is going to decide, hey, I'm going to sit on the bench for 2 years, and I'm going to bust my ass, and I'm going to work my way up to junior year if you don't feel like you're being treated that fairly. And the way that this world works now, where if you're a 4 or 5 star, starting about 15 or 16 years old, you've got grown men, competing to try to get you to come work for them. I think it's a massive challenge. It's why I think, look, I'm a capitalist. Don't want everybody to make as much money as possible. I think they have to create a world where you can't transfer every year, right? To me, when you sign with a school, you should have to commit for 3 years. I think that would help the overall structure of the sport. You can still make as much money as you want on that initial deal. Hey, if you want to leave after your junior year and put yourself on the market and see what your value is then, you're basically a free agent. Kind of like, I always like the grad transfer exception because you're rewarding a kid for going and getting his college and college degree. The faster you get that college degree, the faster you can translate that into to higher levels of earnings potential. I think that's the right incentive to send. But I think the combo of unlimited basic dollars for play combined with unrestricted transfer has created perpetual free agency, and I think it makes it harder to build culture and create successful outcomes because, remember, the vast majority of these guys are not going to be able to make a living beyond college. And so what they learn and the assets and skill sets that they develop while they're in college is actually how most of them are going to end up making a living when all this is done.
Lincoln Riley sort of dipped his toe into the possibility of there not being a USC Notre Dame game maybe in the future. Do you think that's a game that should be and will always be on the college football schedule?
Well, for the guys who are from L.A. and the guys that are Notre Dame people, they say that is their favorite rivalry. I know a lot of those SC guys. I know I've gotten to know a decent number of Notre Dame guys. They love that, like Midwest against L.A. rivalry. The problem is now you got a lot of Midwest against L.A. rivalries. And so what used to be unique, hey, we've got these guys from L.A. traveling to the Midwest to play a game, and then we got the Midwest guys going to L.A., which is basically the concept of the Rose Bowl in general, right? That's what made it such an attractive draw for so many years. Suddenly now you've got, hey, SC and UCLA are going to be playing all over the Midwest, Oregon, and Washington as well, and we'll be having those cross-pollination trips. It makes the sexiness of a Notre Dame SC game less substantial, and so it isn't crazy to me to think that from an SC perspective, if you're playing they have 9 Big Ten games, that's a physically draining schedule. The travel is substantial. I don't think from an SC perspective that they gain as much from Notre Dame. You're playing Ohio State and Michigan of the world on a somewhat regular basis. I can see why that rivalry might end up biting the bullet.
And that was my point earlier, is that it's easy for Notre Dame to come out now and say, yeah, well, we definitely want to keep the USC rivalry. Notre Dame controls their schedule. USC doesn't. Like that Notre Dame game, I made the point last week, when the Notre Dame game for USC is in South Bend, it is played in the middle of the season traditionally, which is odd. It's odd for the Big Ten. Normally the Big Ten, once they get in conference, they stay in conference. But you could have key Big Ten games on either side of that. And, I mean, that's a really tough stretch for USC that they got to think about, not to mention the travel.
Yeah, Notre Dame, it makes sense 100% for them to have that game. I don't think it makes much sense for SC, candidly. Now, college football rivalry perspective, you hate to lose one like that, but I would just, push back for people who are saying that. Like, we're gaining way more better rivalries with the new additions of the West Coast teams to the Big Ten, and I would argue with the additions of Oklahoma and Texas to the SEC as well.
So you're a Titans fan before we let you roll, Clay. Will Levis, your starting quarterback now. I think there's at least 11, maybe 12 quarterbacks in the AFC that are better than Will Levis. What's the expectation this year?
Yeah. I mean, it's not necessarily a hard and fast rule, but if you lose to Vanderbilt at home as a senior starting quarterback in the SEC, like, I don't want that guy to be the future of my my NFL franchise, and that's what Will Levis did. People are like, "Oh, he had a hurt toe." I'm like, "Yeah, it's Vanderbilt. You're at home for senior day. Maybe you got to gut that one out." If you're gonna be a first round caliber quarterback or a guy that's gonna get $50 million a year, like Jordan Love and Tua just did, I think that's what sucks. I mean, I feel like an old man now. I try to be optimistic, but I was at that Titans game when we sacked Joe Burrow 9 times, and lost that game, and would have won and gone to host the AFC Championship game. I'm a season ticket holder for the Titans. I've been to all 3 games the Titans have hosted, where if they had won, they would have hosted the AFC Championship game. All 3 of those games, they were the favorite. All 3 they lost. So, not that I'm still bitter about it, but when the Bengals game happened, I was sitting next to what is that? Was that 21? 3 years
21,
ago?
yeah.
Yeah. So I'm sitting next to my then at that point 10-year-old son, and I said, "Bud, I hate to say this, but I think you're going to be 30 before the Titans have a chance to host a AFC Championship game again."
Wow.
And he's 10. He's 10, and he was like, "What do you mean, Dad?" And I was like, "I mean, if you look at, I'm not trying to be super negative, but if you look at Joe Burrow, Patrick Mahomes, Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen, now C.J. Stroud, that he wasn't in the league at the time that this happened, Trevor Lawrence, like, there are so many incredibly talented young quarterbacks, Justin Herbert, on the AFC side of the line. Will Levis has not beaten multiple of those quarterbacks in the playoffs. It's just not going to happen. And so, I didn't know who the next quarterback was going to be, but I knew they were going to have to go back into, I knew that was basically the end of Tannehill. And yeah, I mean, I think Will Levis is going to be a bust. I mean, I said it when he got drafted. I don't believe in him. Now they've gone and gotten him better talent at the wide receiver position. They've helped on the offensive line, but I think when you look at the people that he would have to beat once you get to the playoffs, there's no way that you're going to have, in my opinion, and I hope I'm wrong. I'd love for you guys to be able to pull this audio, but I don't think Will Levis is beating, Joe Burrow, Josh Allen, and Patrick Mahomes in 3 consecutive weeks to go to the Super Bowl. I just don't think that's ever going to happen. And ultimately, what the NFL has become is every other position is a fragment as important as your overall quarterback when you get into the postseason. And if you don't have one of those top 5 or 6 quarterbacks, frankly, I don't think you're going to win. And I know people can say, well, look at what happened with the Eagles. They had Carson Wentz get injured, and then they went on and they won it with Nick, whatever the guy's name is. Nick Foles. And obviously you've had situations where guys have gotten hot and they've been able to win championships, but I'm not rolling the dice on the Nick Foleses of the world being able to win me a Super Bowl.
Look, I mean, as a Dolphins fan, Clay, 1992 AFC Championship game against the Bills in Miami, still one of the worst losses of my Dolphins career. We had Dan Marino in the winningest NFL coach of all time, and we still have not been back to an AFC Championship game. So what you're saying to your son, it's probably accurate.
Yeah, look, and I think to your point on the Dolphins, I mean, your guys just signed Tua for $53 million or whatever the heck it was, right?
Yep.
You're kind of handcuffed.
You have to
do it. You have to do it because he's not awful, but simultaneously, I think every Dolphins fan doesn't really believe that Tua is going to get past the other quarterbacks in the AFC. So you're kind of in that awful place where a lot of NFL teams find themselves, where you're not good enough to win a championship, but you're not bad enough to put yourself in a rebuild mode, and you just kind of hang out there in that 7-10, 8-9, 9-8 window where you're fighting to hopefully be an AFC wild card and then get beat by a team is better than you.
Yep. You have a lot of fun Sundays, but boy, January's not great. Clay Travis, at Clay Travis on Twitter, Fox Sports, and the founder of Outkick. Thank you very much, Clay. Have a great week.
Hey, appreciate you all. Have a good day.
All right, see you, Clay, with us on the JohnstonRVCenter.com hotline.
And the show being brought to you in part by our friends at Michelson Laser Vision today.
Yeah, make the phone call that I made more than 20 years ago. 205-969-8100. Ask for Amy. Tell her the next round sent you. Ask about the pre-inflation pricing. She's going to schedule you a hassle-free consultation. You have 0 to lose to find out if LASIK is right for you. I had the 2200 vision after the 12-minute procedure. That's all it took for both eyes. 2015 vision, better than 2020. 205-969-8100 or online, michelsonlaservision.com.
Alabama's got another football commitment. We'll tell you who that is when we come back. And also LT's got 4 downs. That's coming up on the other side. This is the next round.
Take the next round anywhere you go with official Next Round gear. Buy yours today at nextround.store.
This hour of The Next Round is presented by the Birmingham Racecourse Casino, now featuring 7 days of giveaways with your chance to win a share of up to $100. The more you visit the Birmingham Racecourse Casino, the more chances you have to win.
You never know what we're up to here at The Next Round. The easiest way to stay in the know with our antics and adventures is to follow The Next Round across all social media platforms at Next Round Live on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. Whether it's Dunaway sleeping in the studio, Tim and Lunceford breaking down the latest movie release, or Game Day Chronicles, we are here to keep you updated on the latest sports news while, of course, having just a little bit of fun. Follow at Next Round Live across all platforms to join in.
Twin Peaks is the best in the game. Here, you're in the red zone for every college rivalry and divisional matchup all season long. I mean, where else are the scenic views as good as your view of the game? Only at Twin Peaks, the #1 sports bar.
Hey, you. School's coming back. Time to gear up. And at New Balance Birmingham, we know what's up. Before hitting the books, check out the looks. Come together at New Balance Birmingham on Highway 280, right next to Chick-fil-A. New Balance Birmingham, we got now.
Hey, Lance Taylor from the Next Round. Unfortunately, over the past year, I've noticed significant hair loss. I asked around, and everyone said call Dr. Beckenstein. He is the absolute best. Dr. B pioneered the use of NeoGraft hair restoration right here in Alabama, and he remains at the forefront of hair preservation in the Southeast. He takes pride in treating each patient personally, applying his expertise to produce quality results. For more than 20 years, women and men have turned to Dr. Beckenstein for a range of hair restoration and cosmetic procedures. He uses that experience and his advanced training to help his patients fully understand his procedures they are considering. Call Dr. Beckenstein today, 205-319-0316. That's 205-319-0316.
When on YouTube, you constantly hear requests to please like and subscribe. Well, here at Disrupt Media, we aren't going to play that game. Those demands are frankly outdated. So we just want you to hit like or subscribe. It's like a choose-your-own-adventure novel. Pick a path, hit like, or hit subscribe. It's your call. We don't care which, just pick one. Or go to Roll Tide Pods and do it. Or War Damn Pods. Or the Disrupt Media YouTube channel. Or the Meltdown. Just make a decision and stick with it. Like or subscribe, the choice is yours.
Hey, Lance Taylor from the Next Round to tell you about my friends at Michelson Laser Vision, located conveniently UAB Highlands. Almost 20 years ago, I went in for the procedure. Only took 12 minutes for both eyes. When I went in, I had 2200 vision. I was legally blind. Now I have 20/15 vision, still 19 years later. Make the call today. Schedule a hassle-free consultation. 969-8100. Dr. Mark Michelson, Dr. Jen Michelson, Michelson Laser Vision. Make sure you tell them the Next Round sent you. 969-8100 or michelsonlaservision.com.
Right before LT tells you about our friends at Hemp Hill Services, I'll tell you that Alabama has picked up another football recruit today. Barack Williams, B-A-R-O-C, Barack Willis is the guy's name. He is on his way to Alabama, 4-star guy, 6'3", from Moody, Alabama.
Almost got Forrester.
Yeah, I thought he was going.
Find Forresters.
Thought he was a Tennessee guy for a second, maybe, but he picks Bama over Auburn, Tennessee, and LSU, and he goes with the Link. More on Link in a second. But Barack Willis, Forrester, who's the kid? Who's the kid that coaches? Used to play at Georgia.
The kid.
That'd be Jake Gaines.
Jake Gaines.
I don't think Jake's a kid anymore. How
He's
old
not,
is Jake?
but Jake was at UAB when they shut the program down, then went to Georgia and continued his career, and now he's up and rising high school football coach that from Moody. Seems like he puts several players into the SEC every year. And there goes one to Alabama, a 4-star. We'll see if that shakes up Alabama's rankings from number 2 if it gets them back over Ohio State.
I think it's 2027. So,
is it? It's down the road?
2027. So that's.
So does that put them number 1 in 2027?
Potentially. That's pretty early.
So he'll have 3 more commitments before 2027.
So, I don't know.
Yeah, so there's a well, that continues. Gaines' record of putting people in the SEC is good through 2027. AK, I'm hardly excited about 2025 recruits, let alone 2027.
Well, keep in mind, this next signing class, even though it's in December, is the 2025 class.
Right.
So
2027 is only
it's
2
only
years away.
Yeah. It's not as long as you think, but it is still a long way away.
Speaking of Link, we'll tell you about what's happening with our buddies Jaylen and Terrion after LT tells us about Hemp Hill.
Make the phone call if you experience any plumbing, heating, or cooling issues in your home or business to our friends at Hemp Hill Services. Trust the name. Birmingham's trust since 1954 for all of your plumbing, heating, or cooling issues. 205-229-2090. Adam, Chad, Andrew, the guys there. Make sure you tell them the next round sent you. For more information, hemphillservices.com.
The Lank documentary, executive producers, Jaylen Milroe, Terrion Arnold, coming out. I don't know where you'll be able to watch this. Premieres this Friday. Is it in theaters? Rated G, it says at the bottom.
Oh, rated G, huh?
Yep. I find that hard to believe.
So Nick Saban was not part of it.
Nick is interviewed there, Greg Byrne and company. I saw a trailer Little T showed me yesterday. Can somebody in the chat room tell me where I can watch this? Or will it just show up in my email?
I mean, we could have premiered it for them.
We could have. Yeah. We could have. But it's friendship. It's like Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid meet Wall Street, I'm told. It's
how about Greg Byrne and Kayla DeBoer are also executive producers in this deal?
That's why Little T said the executive producer list runs deep.
It does. That tells you a lot of people had to sign off on that one, right?
Oh, yeah.
Nick Saban, Kayla DeBoer, Greg Byrne.
Yeah. So that's a documentary that debuts on Friday. The trailer that I looked at made it look like it was well put together. So.
Well, I bet it was. G Curbo says YouTube or X is where you find this.
So what is
the
background, just how they actually came up with Lank?
I was in a business class, wasn't it?
I think that was the story.
You know what Terrion told us?
Yeah, Terrion or Jaylen Milroe one told us the story. I guess it's a lot of behind the scenes from locker room and stuff like that. I don't know.
Yeah, the trailer was interesting, so we'll see that debut Friday as camps are opening up. The show being brought to you today by our friends at Slice. They bring you 4 downs every day. Tell us about Slice LT as we slide our way into 4 downs.
Slice, just a fantastic place created by the late Jeff Bajaya. His brothers continue to celebrate his legacy. Get into one of those 5 locations today. The original Lakeview, Vestavia, Montebello, Crestline Park. Newest location in Edgewood. From the hot mama to the soul pie. You're going to love it. Local pizza, local ingredients. It's Slice.
First down.
Ultimately, who will be the starting quarterback the majority of the games this year for the Pittsburgh Steelers? Will it be Russell Wilson or Justin Fields?
I see where it's a true, as the headline read when I was reading it yesterday, a true, real open quarterback competition in camp, which may or may not have surprised some people, but that's what Mike Tomlin had said. I'm going to go, when it's all said and done, Justin Fields. I'm going to say that Russell has lost his fastball, and I think it's going to be Justin Fields.
Would you be excited about this if you were a Pittsburgh fan?
Yeah,
I think I would be too.
If Justin Fields is my starting quarterback, if Russell Wilson is my starting quarterback, I'm not excited at all.
But it is an upgrade from last year.
It's an upgrade, I guess. I don't know. Russell Wilson's just not even close to the quarterback he once was.
Yeah, but I mean, it's an upgrade from Kenny Pickett. I mean, Kenny Pickett was rough at times.
Well, and the offensive coordinator was rough. I mean, you're getting an upgrade with Arthur Smith taking over.
That's right.
That offense to begin with, and I just think there's so much upside with Justin Fields. I would rather see that because kind of know the best version of Russell Wilson you can get right now.
Yeah, this is a tough one. I think I'm going to go Russell Wilson here, though. I'll go Russell Wilson getting the majority of the starts. I want to see Fields, though. I'm like Lance. I like him. I'd like to see him get a second chance here and make the most of it. And he just seems like he fits in that Pittsburgh uniform. That just seems like a uniform. I don't know if I'm thinking back to like Cordell Stewart and guys like that. And even Roethlisberger was, as mobile as he could be as a big guy. But a mobile quarterback in a Pittsburgh uniform just seems like it works.
Well, and the defense is going to be good. And that division is going to be lights out with a healthy Burrow.
Yeah.
So you're going to have your best version of a quarterback. I ultimately think it's Justin Fields. But, boy, they say it is with Russell Wilson not taking reps right now, they're saying that Justin Fields is not making the most of his opportunity.
Well, that's unfortunate. Wow. Yeah, that's bad timing for him then.
Second down.
2 birthdays here. A.J. Brown, 28 years old. Trey Turner, 32. Ultimately better career. A.J. Brown or Trey Turner?
A.J.'s only 28. Boy, he's played a lot of football.
Trey Turner is a top 5 shortstop defensively, top 10 shortstop defensively.
It was top 5, maybe, yeah, I mean, around about that.
Yeah.
He's won a World Series.
A.J. Brown has obviously been a top 5 receiver, so I think I'm going to go A.J. Brown.
I think I will too. How much longer does A.J. Brown, can he keep playing at this level?
3 to 4 years.
Yeah. 32, 33. Let's see, you're going to start to wind down as a receiver. Though, I don't know if you guys saw this. I mean, it's kind of like being a receiver. You got to be fast at this position too. Kareem Jackson just signed a 1-year deal with the Bills today.
Yeah.
Kareem Jackson, Nick Saban, original team
That's
Kareem
crazy.
Jackson. Isn't it insane he's still in the league? 15th year in the league for Kareem Jackson.
I think I'm going to go Trey Turner just because he does have his World Series championship. I didn't realize this about Trey Turner. He's hit for the cycle 3 times. It's kind of hard to do.
It is hard to do. I'll go A.J. Brown here, then.
Third down.
Mike Tyson, 59. Ultimately better career, Mike Tyson or Mike Myers?
Mike Myers, the actor? Michael Myers?
Yeah, not the villain.
Not the villain?
Not the killer.
I might go the killer. I mean, we've seen Jack Tyson's career, right? I mean, is this Jake Paul fight really going to happen, do you think? They've delayed it once.
Yeah, they pushed it back to the fall. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't think it ever happens.
Right into football season.
Yeah.
I'm going to go Mike Tyson. One time considered to be the best boxer in the world at one point.
Yeah, he's recreated himself too, but Mike Myers done a lot of stuff.
He really has. I mean love it or hate it, the Austin Powers series made a bundle of money.
Well, in the Shrek. I mean, what franchise made more, Austin Powers or Shrek?
That's a good one.
Oh, I'd say Shrek.
Yeah.
Shrek did.
I mean, what do you think Myers made off that?
Oh, I would think that Myers is worth much more than Mike Tyson. I would think that maybe $100 million on both franchises, or $100 million each.
Shrek, I don't know if this is the whole franchise or just part of it, but $3.5 billion globally. That is pretty good. I'm gonna go. I think, earnings-wise, it is going to be Mike Myers, no doubt. I think Tyson was the most feared man in the world at one point.
Ryan in the mybookie.ag chat room, seeing Mike Tyson punch be like 30 seconds into the first round did it for me.
Yeah. I mean, I think I'd go Mike Tyson here. Most feared man in the world as a boxer.
Fourth down.
Michael Phelps, 40 today. Better career, Michael Phelps, Michael Keaton.
Michael Phelps, easy. One of the great Olympians of all time.
The greatest of all time.
Yeah,
the greatest Olympian of all time. I don't think Michael Keaton, with all due respect, Dunaway's ever been the greatest actor of all time.
I don't disagree with you.
Well, he was for a year.
Yeah. Lunceford goes back to money, saying Myers worth $200 million. Tyson just $10 million now.
Yeah.
Myers probably better with his money than Tyson was.
I'm going to guess on that.
Did I mess up and put June 30th birthdays? It's possible. Very possible.
Well, today's July 30th.
Yeah. That's okay.
All those over in the mybookie.ag chat room. That is 4 Downs, brought to you by our friends at Slice.
Yeah, get a slice and a salad today. One of those great 5 locations. Pick up a couple of pies on your way home. For more information, slicebirmingham.com.
All right. So, in NFL camp, I saw where Drake May had a bad day at Patriots camp. I don't know what you guys are expecting from Drake May and that team. Caleb Williams wants to play Thursday night in the first exhibition game, Chicago and Houston. He says he's a competitor and he likes being in Canton. Coach's decision. Well, how do you attack this? Is it still an extra exhibition game, the Hall of Fame game like it used to be? It's a bonus game.
But you only play 4 if you play this one, right?
Yeah.
You don't play 5 like you used to.
Yeah.
And he's not going to play in the last one. The veterans, or not the veterans, but the starters never play in the last one.
So he's the starter now. We just know Caleb Williams is starting.
Don't you think?
Yeah, I mean, Tyson, Bagent, whoever the backup was, the guy with the sleeve tat last year. Caleb Williams is going to be your guy. I don't know if you play him in this situation or not. I mean, you got to play him sooner or later in the preseason, though.
Yeah, I would not play him here. I mean,
not even one series.
I don't even think I give him a series. I'll play him in the second preseason game. Then the third preseason game for the Bears, which would be most people's second. That's the one where the starters generally play most of the first half. and then you sit them down. I would,
I don't know. I think I would play him a series. Just let him see that speed.
Yeah.
Would you guys be okay if we go to 18 games, which we're going to just eliminate the exhibition games?
I mean, look, we don't have them in college football. Look, and there's some rustiness when you see week 0, week 1. But if they're able to do it, NFL guys would be able to do it, and you'd rather see more meaningful games.
Yeah, but do you think we'll get a good product right out of the chute? That's one thing about the preseason is the NFL product is really good out of the chute. I mean, teams are dialed in. They're on the money. Excuse me. You don't get that a lot of times in college. A lot of times it can be a sloppy first week in college. Now,
but they're not.
If you eliminate the preseason games, one thing you will keep is the inter-squad games that you get.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's where all the practices
That's right.
that happen. The veterans aren't playing in these preseason games a lot anyway.
They're not.
Yeah.
But as long as you keep those inter-squad practice games.
Yeah, look, and the sloppiness is equitable. I mean, if nobody's going to have preseason games, nobody has them.
Yeah.
But I think we would rather see that one additional game that means something than 3 preseason games that mean nothing.
I don't want to lose the 3 preseason games because
I'd like to keep it all.
Frankly, I enjoy watching them in August. It gives me something to watch. I don't think you'll ever lose them because they're cheap for the owners to put on, and they still make money at the gate.
No, but you will lose them if the Players Association decides to go to 18 games.
Yeah, they're going to want something back.
Yeah, they're going to say, we're not going to continue to play
Unless
these.
you work out some sort of deal where – I don't know how you would do this. I think they're still valuable for the bottom of the roster guys, don't you, though? The preseason games for evaluating bottom of the roster guys. And at some point, the NFL's got to figure out a way to do that if you don't have preseason games, and it may be in those inter-squad scrimmages. Or those scrimmages between the two teams, not necessarily inter-squad.
Which is where I think a lot of it is anyway.
Well, maybe so. I don't know. It seems like a lot. If you watch Hard Knocks, it seems like those preseason games mean a whole lot for the bottom of the roster guys, especially that last preseason game where they've got to make their final cut downs.
For some of them, it's the only NFL games they ever get in.
That's right.
The exhibition games.
But I'm with Lance.
They never make a roster.
At some point, you can't keep adding games and the players not get something back. Now, they're getting paid a lot, obviously, and getting paid a lot more, but they got to worry about their bodies at some point.
Yep. Our friends at New York Butcher Shop bringing you football season, man. Go get a couple of good steaks, grill it, and watch the exhibition action start on Thursday night.
I mentioned that I went in there on Friday to see our good buddy Jim at the Highway 119 location in Greystone. There's that original location at Cabo Heights. Got that delicious filet with some of the incredible sides. Love his baked beans. The goat cheese mashed potatoes are incredible as well. And don't forget about the huge deli sandwiches and catering options for your next business lunch meeting with a great selection of fine wines and desserts. New York Butcher Shop, one-stop dinner shop, 2 locations. Cabo Heights, Highway 119 in Greystone. The New York Butcher Shop, rare quality, well-done service.
Call the next round now at 205-734-0923.
Storm season is here. Make sure you have a plan of action in place right now. Greg from Phelps City and Storm Restoration Roofing should be your first call when storms hit. Insurance companies love working with Storm Restoration Roofing because of Greg Nelson's name and reputation in the industry. When storms hit, call Greg Nelson. He's local, 205-542-3531. He's the home of the free no-cost roof inspection. Greg from Phelps City on Facebook, 205-542-3531. It's Storm Restoration Roofing.
Stop by the New York Butcher Shop and pick up the finest in certified Angus prime beef steaks and burgers, premium pork chops, ribs, and all-natural chicken cut to order just for you. Their chef-prepared entrees and side dishes are the perfect dinner-to-go choice for your family and are ready to heat at home. With a great selection of fine wines and desserts, the New York Butcher Shop is your one-stop dinner shop. 2 locations to serve you, Cabo Heights and on Highway 119 in Greystone. The New York Butcher Shop, rare quality, well-done service.
For a great experience in golf, go to Bent Brook, just off I-459 in the Birmingham area. You've got 27 holes where you can play your 18 holes 6 different ways. Open 7 days a week with 5 sets of tees that makes golf enjoyable for any level golfer. You get complimentary GPS on every golf cart, and the AU Victory bent grass greens play as pure as any in the area. Bent Brook continues to improve with upgraded greens and redesigned holes. Book that next tee time right now. BentBrook.com. BentBrook.com.
Every day, someone is ridiculed and mocked for the clothing they chose to wear. It's a harsh reality we all must face. But you have the chance to change all of that with one visit to nextround.store. For just a few minutes of browsing, you will observe so many clothing options, from hats to hoodies to t-shirts. Please, for yourself or someone you love, go to nextround.store. and embrace the warmth of true attire.
Hey, Lance Taylor from the next round to tell you about my friends at Michelson Laser Vision, located conveniently UAB Highlands. Almost 20 years ago, I went in for the procedure. Only took 12 minutes for both eyes. When I went in, I had 2200 vision. I was legally blind. Now I have 20/15 vision, still 19 years later. Make the call today. Schedule a hassle-free consultation. 969-8100. Dr. Mark Michelson, Dr. Jen Michelson, Michelson Laser Vision. Make sure you tell them the next round sent you. 969-8100 or MichelsonLaserVision.com.
Follow Next Round Live on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. The social media team at Next Round Live is dedicated to giving you daily news conferences and practice video from UAB, Alabama, Auburn, and around college football. Follow and compare to the sites you used to visit. You'll also get the latest highlights and news from the Next Round Daily Show. Turn on the notifications so you don't miss a thing. Next Round Live on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. See more at nextroundlive.com.
Fun series in Major League Baseball happening tonight, 5:40 on TBS. You get Yankees and Phillies. Should be a lot of fun. Braves and Brewers continue their series after the Solar pickup yesterday for the Braves. Lanceslock.com for all the baseball plays. Show being brought to you today by our friends at Precision Sports Medicine and Orthopedics. Our friends there at precisionsportsortho.com/2024. You can call them up, make an appointment today when you need them. That's where I send my family when they've tweaked something, pulled something, broke something. It's Dr. Patterson for me in Alabaster, but they got locations, Alabaster to Jasper. What more can you say in an endorsement than the fact that that's where I send my family? It's who I trust my daughter and son to. You can too. Precision Sports Medicine and Orthopedic, 205-512-3885, precisionsportsortho.com. They diagnose it, they treat it, and they rehab it. Orthopedic care better together. Find your provider today. Again, 205-512-3885 or visit precisionsportsortho.com/2024. Forrester with a couple of things off of his work in the back room today. A couple of weird things happening. I'll need his microphone for the first one. Nebraska's media day, Matt Rule getting a chance as camp is opening up. Forrester sent this to me a moment ago. Forrester, what am I about to look at here? What's happening here, man?
Well, I don't really have any context, but apparently Oregon's mascot, the Duck, showed up at Matt Rule's press conference.
Boy, it's a Big Ten thing.
Wow.
Everybody's
in Lincoln.
Everybody's living in
Lincoln,
peace.
yes.
Everybody's living in peace right now in the Big Ten, huh? I mean,
this. Do they have the balls to do this in Columbus?
I don't know. I'm just sitting here thinking if.
Nebraska's a non-factor right now.
Yeah.
Now, I do think second year under Matt Rule, they're going to be better this year. This is kind of weird, but I don't really think it's poking the cage because Oregon and Nebraska are in different spots.
I was sitting here thinking if the costumed Bevo, if the SEC picked up the phone and called Alabama and Auburn and said, hey, preseason, practice scrimmage press conference, is it okay if we have Bevo in there for a photo op? What do you think Alabama and Auburn would say to that?
Absolutely not.
You think so?
Yeah.
Okay.
Keep in mind that the schooner, the Boomer schooner, rolled around to every SEC campus.
Yeah.
As they were coming into the SEC. They toured around and they visited, I don't know if they went to Texas. I'm sure they did. They went to 14 others, I know.
You know why they wouldn't want them, Brown?
Why is that?
Because now we're talking about Oregon.
That is
it's
true.
at your press conference.
We're not talking about Nebraska.
And the focus is completely shifted off of Hugh Freeze or Kalen DeBoer, and it's completely on Oregon.
No, you're absolutely.
Or Bevo at that point.
You're absolutely correct in that.
And then there, before you show the next one, Forrester, by the way, earlier this week, I never got to it, but top point guard in basketball recruiting, Darius Acuff, picked Arkansas. John Calipari now has signed 16 five-star point guards in the last 18 years.
Yeah.
I'll say it again. Darius Acuff, five-star point guard, picks Arkansas. 16 five-star point guards in 18 years for John Calipari. Only missed in 2 years.
Yeah, and I don't know who his best was. Was it Wall? Was it De'Aaron Fox? I think I'd
go John Wall, but
great point guards.
Yep. So we'll see if Acuff is another one of those. Boogie Fland is part of that Arkansas team this year of this recruiting class. And meanwhile, in Arkansas, the Tyson family, the folks that brought Calipari to the Ozark Mountains, releasing this. the Razorback Nuggets, available in Arkansas and Missouri. I bet they sell great in Missouri. Razorback Nuggets for you there. The kids can eat the little Razorback. Made of chicken.
Oh, I was going to say they made a real hog.
So that's pork nuggets, huh?
Yeah. I guarantee there's as much hog in those as there is chicken.
I remember we had a advertiser once that did Alabama and Auburn chicken nuggets. That's what went bad in my freezer when my garage refrigerator went out when we were out of town.
Remind me what they look like, Brownie. Were the A's and the AUs? I can't remember what they look like.
I don't think they look like anything. I think they were just chicken
logo,
and it just had the logo.
Yeah, you were just buying the logo.
That's right. It was a nugget and it had the logo on it.
And then they got a cease and desist quicker than yours went rotten, right?
Yeah, I think so. But they brought them, to us at the station. I'm like, heck, my kids will eat chicken nuggets, or my kid at the time. And so I took them home. We put them in the freezer. We go out of town for a week, and my garage refrigerator goes out. The smell of rancid chicken. I don't know if you've ever smelled rancid chicken.
Oh, it's horrible.
You can't get that smell out of your nose for a long time. For a long time, I would just randomly.
You would love this being the big dog guy that you are. My dogs love to find dead animals and roll in the dead animal.
You've told me this before. It's filthy.
It was yesterday. It happened again because these moles get washed up with all this rain. And so there's dead moles around the yard. Yeah, out of their holes. And so the dogs will get the mole and they'll roll around on it because they want to smell like the mole.
So wait a second. The moles have died because they drowned, maybe?
Yeah, they drowned.
Okay.
Yeah.
I had not thought of this for a long time. I bet Rockstar remembers this. There was a store at the Galleria called the Mole Hole.
Yep.
Do you remember that? What did they sell?
Yeah, just a bunch of
knick-knacks.
Yeah.
So it was like Hobby Lobby, basically. Yeah.
You'd see a bunch of old ladies in there buying stuff they didn't need.
It was a big mole that greeted you in the front.
You love it. Yes. No, Rockstar's right. They had a big mole. I remember as a little kid, it looked like a pretty cool little store.
Well, it was catty corner, I think, from Sports Fantasy and Cindy Cinnamon Rolls, right there on that little.
Yeah, maybe so. It was in a good traffic area. Yeah. So they've been rolling around in these dead moles.
Yeah, dead moles, and it smells. I mean, it smells like obviously a dead, rotten animal, and I've got to immediately wash the dogs because if they break loose, then they'll run and jump on the couch and they'll rub all that on the couch.
Yeah, you won't get rid of that. Trust me.
When you mentioned your dog is doing that the last time on the show, I think I said my little dogs don't do that, but then I go home and I was telling it to Maggie, and it turns out my dogs do.
Yeah, most do.
Find a place. Maybe it's not that. Maybe it's another dog smell or something. They don't like to smell clean, apparently.
Well, Charlie never goes outside, so we don't have to worry about that unless we got a dead animal in the house.
Yeah, they have found some kind of nest of different animals out back. So when they're walking to the pool, they'll dart off now. So I've actually got to walk them with leashes to the pool because Chili got out a couple of weeks ago and she was gone for hours. I mean, we went around the neighborhood searching for her and found her head to toe and just
dead
shit.
mole?
Yeah, dead animals.
God, that's awful.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't guess we forget this, but surely
they're animals.
They're animals. I mean, this is the way they would act in nature, right? Nobody gives them a bath in nature. They don't care how they smell in nature.
Don't care.
So this is the way they would react. Now they've evolved as we have, broken them and put them in houses over the years. But still, I mean, at some point, nature, it comes back to you, right?
Yeah, I just don't know why you would want to smell like that.
I really don't either. I don't know what they're accomplishing. What do you think they're accomplishing?
It probably blends them in. It's probably a safety mechanism. It blends them into the environment outside so they don't stick out if they're being hunted.
Yeah, it's just a dead mole. It's not a dog. I can smell that.
Yeah, or it smells like the rest of the woods.
God, that's awful.
But it's crazy. Even my little house dogs, when they can, they do it. And they try to do it as soon as they finish the bath. They'll run like onto the kitchen or somewhere they can, a rug or somewhere, and start rolling around.
Yeah, they don't want to smell like that.
Yeah. They don't want to smell clean. That's for dang sure.
They're trying to get some smell back into them. All that cleaning so that these guys' houses still look great after our friends at A+.
Oh, they're not. Charlie's not ruining anything Brad Bell did. He did the master bath in my house and in Lance's house. Also did the kitchen in Lance's house. So that's his specialty. Master bath, kitchen, and master bedroom closet. Scott's going to show you some before and after photos of my master bath and Lance's master bath. When it came time to do ours, my wife scoured the internet to look for the best person to do it. She picked Brad Bell, A+ Tile Home Remodeling. I'm glad she did. He did tremendous work, and he did it the way we wanted it done. It wasn't like some vision he came in to sell us on. He came in and said, you tell me what you want, I'll make it happen. Boy, he did. His crews were on time. They worked hard. They were clean at the end of every single day in my house. They would bring us in and show us what they had accomplished that day and made sure it lived up to our specifications, answered any questions we wanted. Could not have been a better situation. 205-422-1758 is his number. 205-422-1758. Brad Bell, A+ Tile Home Remodeling.
While we're talking smells and stuff, we do a thing called the Mystery Fifth Hour that is on our platform, always brought to you by the great folks at McCurry Van and Car Rental. And we had a chance to record one at SEC Media Days with our SEC Network friend Chris Doring. And we were talking about old Florida Field, or still Florida Field, but the old atmosphere when Spurrier was there, how, probably was underrated and what a tough place it was to play, which led to this discussion on what Florida fans used to do, specifically when really good Tennessee would come to Gainesville.
Okay, urban legend, I've always wondered this. We were told this back in the day at the Swamp under Spurrier. Behind the visiting bench, first few rows, well-endowed co-eds, low-cut tank tops was planned to sit behind the bench to distract, because not a lot of on that side of the field, not a lot of bench space over there.
Yeah, not a lot. But it used to be the students had all of those rows behind and it is tight
until they changed the rule.
Well, you know why they changed the rule.
Oh, no.
Well, part of it was because of Florida, and you remember that Tennessee rivalry back in the 90s was a heated one. I assume this is true. Maybe it's urban legend, but supposedly there were Gator fans that were dumping Ziploc bags of piss on the Tennessee fans that were in front of them. That section, So
do you pack that or do you fill it at the
I don't know.
stadium?
Yeah, I mean, that's a lot of effort to sneak in. Like most people are Ziploc bagging like Jim Beam in.
No, I think you would take the Ziploc in and then go to the bathroom, take a piss.
Or bring the Jim Beam in, drink it out of the Ziploc, and then not have to go to the bathroom, just piss right there inside the Ziploc.
I mean, I didn't know Florida Tennessee said to the Copa soccer fans, hold my beer for a second. That's very Central American soccer.
Right. Very, very soccer right there. Boy, if you screw up those two Ziploc bags, you think you're adding Jim Beam to the Coke?
Yeah, that's a into the stand. That's one of those I'm going to not penalize the players for running into the stands for at that point.
You would think that if that was true, I guess a little bit different with social media now, that story seemed like it would have blown up. Because that's how you incite a riot right there.
I had always heard what Dunaway mentioned is that they did not mind having nice-looking girls right behind the bench.
It was very distracting as the coaches were on the dry erase board.
And late in the game, when the alcohol had been flowing, you never knew what those nice young ladies might be willing to do to distract someone even further.
Almost
right?
like Bourbon Street.
Yes, and that had always been, I've heard many players say that was the case. I had never heard that story until Chris Doring told it.
Very interesting.
But it's coming from a Florida guy. I mean, I don't think he would just paint his school in a bad light for no reason. I mean, he assumed we knew that story.
The showers when cups go into the airs after touchdowns seem to be a big Mississippi thing, but it used to happen everywhere in the SEC. Coke, bourbon and Cokes, whatever it was. But you used to, before the bottles were plastic, back in the old days, people would sneak in glass bottles.
Oh, yeah.
And I had a photographer friend, I've told the story before back in our radio days. His name was Brian King, and he got stitches in the back of his head. He was the photographer on the sidelines. I think it was at Alabama Ole Miss.
I remember that game. So I was partially through telling that story on the way back, and we got interrupted. It was the first time Alabama played in Oxford, because that game used to be played in Jackson. And some buddies of mine were going over there. This was, I want to say 95 maybe. And I was a freshman in college at Jack State, if I've got the years right. So I went with them. And I don't know, I can't remember who Alabama's center was, but Ole Miss's defensive tackle jumped off sides. Alabama's taking knees late in the game. And he jumps off sides and plasters Alabama's center. Knocks him backwards into the quarterback and everything. Dead ball. And the center gets up and pushes him. And it almost escalates into a brawl. It was a really close game. It was typical Stallings game. Alabama's probably 4 touchdowns better than that Ole Miss team, but it comes down to the final possession, of course. And he must have been maddening to bet, like Gene Stallings. Like Alabama was always
play that under.
I know. But anyway, so he pushes him, and there's almost a brawl that breaks out, and they have to break it up. But the Alabama player, I think, got thrown out of the game. And as I remember it, he had to walk maybe under their students to get to the locker room.
That used to be the thing in the SEC.
Yeah, it still is at Tennessee. And they were, I remember all kinds of stuff coming out of the stands at that guy. Like I can remember we were like catty corner from that, and you could see the Jack Daniels bottles and the Evans Williams bottles and all that coming out of the stands.
Is the stadium liable? Like your guy that got hit?
I can't remember what happened to BK. He listens to us in Tampa sometimes, so shoot me a text.
But if that hit your kid and it split your kid's head open, you would.
It had to be the same game I'm talking about.
But it was a glass bottle, caught him in the noggin, back of the head. It may have been Auburn, Pat Dye's last trip there, but it was in Oxford. I pretty much believe it.
Yeah.
When that happened to him. So I mean, there's pee is not always the worst thing that can come out of the stands. You can wash that off.
The other thing I remember about that game is this is why they used to play in Jackson. Ole Miss's stadium wasn't up to par yet. Vaught Hemingway. It's gotten much nicer. But at the time, if you went to use the restroom, you had to go in the end zone, and those were like temporary bleachers. And if somebody spilled a drink, it was a rainstorm.
Oh, yeah.
And there was like portalets under those temporary bleachers. And you had to wait in line, obviously. I mean, a lot of people got to go. And if somebody spills a drink, you just get soaked.
Yeah. Troy over in the chat room, Auburn players, when they were at West Virginia, had batteries and everything thrown at them. Used to be tough on the road in college football. Hopefully we're cleaning that up a little bit, right?
I don't want it to be too clean. I still want it to be kind of tough. But back when the students could sit behind your bench before they changed those rules, that could get brutal, especially at a place like Florida where they're right on top of you.
One more hour to go. Don't forget the kickoff party coming up August 15th at Walk-Ons in Hoover. More on that as we get closer to the event, a couple of weeks away. Always, our friends at Urology Centers of Alabama want to remind you to stay on top of your health as you get a little bit older. UCA is the home of 35 urologists here in the state of Alabama, 16 locations that are close to you, 16 locations. They'll treat all your urological needs from prostate health to kidney stones and everything in between.
I was there yesterday.
Were you really?
The Homewood location. I had to get some blood tested.
Yeah, you get that appointment like LT did yesterday by calling that number, 205-930-0920, 930-0920, or going online to urologycentersalabama.com. urologycentersalabama.com to schedule an appointment for you with our friends at UCA.
Everything Alabama, all the time. Subscribe and set alerts at Roll Tide Pods on YouTube and wherever you get your podcasts.
Bright Bank, member FDIC, equal housing lender. Hey, Lance Taylor from the Next Round to tell you about one of our favorite places for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. That is Hamburger Heaven since 1982. Hamburger Heaven has been serving Birmingham's best hamburgers, cheeseburgers, French fries, hand-spun milkshakes, and sandwiches made fresh to order. All of their ingredients are fresh and prepared daily. This includes their beef, always fresh, never frozen, hand-pattied each and every day. For breakfast, lunch, or dinner, visit any of the 4 locations, Highway 280, Irondale, Gardendale, and Homewood.
Hey, you. School's coming back. Time to gear up. And at New Balance Birmingham, we know what's up. Before hitting the books, check out the looks. Come together at New Balance Birmingham on Highway 280, right next to Chick-fil-A. New Balance Birmingham, we got now.
Our friends at Lanyas Furniture believe in getting more style for less. Lanyas offers a great selection of furniture for your living room, bedroom, dining room, home office, and entertainment room, helping you elevate your home design and decor. Lanyas offers everything from vibrant outdoor furniture to breezy home accents. Everything you need to create your own sunshine sanctuary. Right now, you can save up to 10% store-wide, receive $300 in Lanyas sleep credits with select mattress purchases, and access special financing on tons of hot buys. Take exit 280 off the I-65 Hallmark Farms exit today to see what Lanyas has to offer you.
Every day, someone is ridiculed and mocked for the clothing they chose to wear. It's a harsh reality we all must face. But you have the chance to change all of that with one visit to nextround.store. For just a few minutes of browsing, you will observe so many clothing options, from hats to hoodies to t-shirts. Please, for yourself or someone you love, go to nextround.store and embrace the warmth of true attire.
For a great experience in golf, go to Bent Brook, just off I-459 in the Birmingham area. You've got 27 holes where you can play your 18 holes 6 different ways. Open 7 days a week with 5 sets of tees that makes golf enjoyable for any level golfer. You get complimentary GPS on every golf cart, and the AU Victory bent grass greens play as pure as any in the area. Bent Brook continues to improve with upgraded greens and redesigned holes. Book that next tee time right now. BentBrook.com. BentBrook.com.
Jim Dunaway, Lance Taylor, Ryan Brown and Rockstar. Live from the Birmingham Racecourse Casino Studios, the next round, presented by Bud Light, is on now.
Final hour of the show brought to you by Champy's world famous fried chicken. Sterling and the crew down there getting ready for the tailgates. I mean, tailgating's 25 days away for week 0 games. Then we get to that first big Thursday night, and then that first opening weekend on August the 31st. And Sterling's got the hand-cut chicken finger platters and the Mississippi Delta recipe tamales that are easy to take to the game, the deep-fried chicken, all the sides. He'll do that for office parties and meetings as well, but it's dine-in, lunch, and dinner as well for you. On 119 in Alabaster, Sterling and the crew is Champy's Chicken, champy'schicken.com, proud sponsor of the next round, and we're loving Sterling and that customer service he gives us down there. Your home for brews, bird, and blues. I did that backwards. Blues, brews, and bird is champy'schicken.com, champy'schicken.com. Brownie.
Do you know how sad it is that I have to do this? The Dolphins are practicing right now 11 on 11. And I see Travis Wingfield, one of the guys I follow that covers Miami, excuse me, talking about Skylar Thompson, the backup quarterback, completing back-to-back throws to Tyreek Hill and Jaylen Waddle.
Right.
And I'm like, the backup is playing with the starters right now. Please tell me I have not missed an injury while we've been doing the show here. So that entire commercial break, I'm having to go back and read his Twitter feed just to make sure I didn't miss an injury.
Oh, I think with the signing, it would be all over the place.
You would think, but I mean, when I see the backup completing throws to Waddle and Hill.
TV2, NFL Network, TV3, ESPN.
Oh, I know. You'd see it
all
quick,
the alerts
yes.
on my phone. Something would have passed right now.
Speaking of TV3.
I'm just saying, that's a difficult way to live, by the way.
Our man, Dan Orlovsky.
Yep, what
He's
about?
If we didn't know how healthy and thick his hair was, would that look like one of the worst toupees of all time?
Yeah. It's laying up there on top.
Yeah, I mean, it's so thick.
I don't know. Lunceford's not back there right now, but Rockstar, you may remember. LT will remember this. When the good guys became the bad guys in wrestling, what was that organization?
Heel turns? Oh, the NWO.
The NWO.
Yeah, the New World Order, right?
It seems like NWO is what Orlovsky's come out of this offseason as, because he looks a little more intimidating today. The other day on McAfee, he's in a black sleeveless T-shirt and a necklace, and he looked like he was playing the evil Dan Orlovsky.
It might have been an homage to Pat McAfee, because he was wearing basically what McAfee wears.
That
right?
may have been what it was. So I didn't know if Orlovsky has made a heel turn in the offseason or not. Looking forward to talking.
No, that is some thick hair, though.
It really is. He's got a good head of hair, or a thick head of hair.
Yeah, is he bigger?
I thought that's what Lance was getting to. I don't know if it's just the shirt he's wearing, but his neck looks like he's been to the gym, neck and shoulders.
A little bit.
Yeah, Orlovsky may be coming back. He may find a roster spot on Browns Dolphins.
Hey, now.
Before it's ever said done.
I mean, I love me some Dan Orlovsky, but I think we're okay, Jim. I was just pointing out how difficult it is to live as a Dolphins fan, that I see a backup getting reps with the starters, and my immediate fear is Tua's out for the season.
We can never feel sorry for ourselves. We talked about Forrester's horrible White Sox yesterday.
Oh, my
15th
God.
consecutive loss after giving up, a 6th spot in the 8th yesterday. But then you look at the Falcons. They haven't been to the postseason or hadn't had a winning record since 2017. Forrester, by far, is our most tortured sports fan up here.
Was that the...
And unfortunately, he's a big Auburn fan, too.
And it's been a rough go.
Was that Super Bowl?
17? Yeah.
That's the last time they were...
That was the last time they had a winning record. Or the year after the Super Bowl.
Oh, okay. So it was the 17-year, 16 Super Bowl? 17 Super Bowl, 16 season?
16 Super Bowl was the Patriots and Falcons.
Yeah.
Wow.
And then the 17th season, I think they were 9-7. I need to check that, but that was their last winning record for sure.
So basically yesterday, though, his White Sox traded away all their good players except for Crochet, right? I mean, Scott, is that pretty much what happened? All the good ones except for Garrett Crochet?
No, Luis Robert's still there.
Okay, but they're going to trade him too, right?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Still a few hours today, right?
Right.
What's the Crochet rumor? What is the rumor where he's going, Scott? Do you know?
Well, supposedly he put some stipulations on it where if he gets traded, that team has to sign him to an extension.
Yeah.
Which
a lot of money right there.
Yep.
Wow, yeah, he's dang good though.
Laura says Saints and Auburn fans here. Hold my beer. Keith says Saints fan. So Saints fans checking in that they're tortured, but I don't remember the Falcons winning their Super Bowl. I do remember the Saints winning theirs.
The Falcons did not.
Yeah,
they had it in the bag.
16, they go to the Super Bowl. Next year was McVay's first year. They beat the Rams in the Coliseum in the wild card round, and then they lose to the Eagles, who ultimately win the Super Bowl that year. But then after that, it was 7-9, 7-9, 4-12, and then 3 straight 7-10s.
You know, I'm interested in what do you think the most tortured fan base is in the NFL right now?
It's got to be San Francisco or the Cowboys based on this, to me. They're good every year, but they haven't won Super Bowls in 30 years.
I think historically, though, wouldn't it be Buffalo? Who's been closer more often than them without winning it?
Well, the Vikings and Buffalo.
Pretty tortured, but the Vikings, they never won one early on, did they?
Vikings, no. They lost 4 in the 70s?
Yeah, they played a lot early.
And then in 98, and then
best team in football in 98.
then the walk-off in 17 against the Saints, and then they hosted the NFC Championship game, and you're like, there's no way they can lose this with this momentum against a backup quarterback in Nick Foles, and they did.
But, the Bills obviously had 4 straight that they lost Super Bowls, and then they've had this era again where they've gotten really good,
and people
they
always
can't get over the hump. Can't even get back to the Super Bowl.
People always say, but you were AFC champions.
That does not matter to me.
I know. Once you get to the Super Bowl, you want to win it.
No, I mean, don't get me wrong. I want to be the AFC champion, but I am not going to look back on losing a Super Bowl and say, dadgummit, we won the AFC.
But Jets fans, too, they're talking about the Jets right now on TV3 with Orlovsky. I mean, that's a fan base. It's been a long time.
It's been a long time. I don't know how tortured they've been because they haven't been particularly close. Rex Ryan had them in back-to-back AFC championship games, though, right? With Mark Sanchez, the quarterback.
Yeah.
Who was the running back on that team? Really good running back.
Dave D., a Raiders fan over here. He says, Greg, I lean towards the Chicago Bears. I mean, but you still, Greg, I don't know how old you are, but you had the 80s. That was pretty good football back then.
Panthers. AK says the Panthers.
No.
I mean, relatively speaking, by short life, you've had a pretty good run.
Yeah, you had a good run with Cam. He took you to a Super Bowl.
You did not win one, but you played in 2 Super Bowls?
Played in 2.
Yeah, Jay Delhomme and Cam
against
Newton.
the Patriots.
If it wasn't didn't Vinatieri hit that long kick?
32-29 final, I think.
Yep.
Janet Jackson game, right?
Nope. Yep, it was.
Which game?
It was
Janet
the Janet
Jackson
game, in Houston.
Yeah. So, you're known for a lot if you're a Panthers fan.
Yeah.
You're a part of the Patriots dynasty and Janet Jackson flash.
I see your point on 49ers and Cowboys and Bills that you've been good. Like, if you're a Lions fan, I see Lions in the mybookie.ag chat room, Cardinals.
But they've just been bad a long time.
You're just bad.
I would say more Cowboys because the 49ers at least have made the Super Bowl. The Cowboys, it seems like every year they bait you into thinking, okay, this Cowboys team, this could do it. And then every year they don't do it. I feel baited in by the Cowboys almost every year.
There's only been 5 teams, including the Cowboys. Well, there have been 27 teams that have made a championship game since the Cowboys last did.
Yeah. When's their last Super Bowl? 94 or 96?
95.
95.
Yeah,
okay.
Barry Switzer.
So if I was born in 1996, how old am I?
Oh, you are 28?
Yeah.
I'm 28 years old, and if I grew up a Cowboys fan, my team has never been to the Super Bowl. And I'm 28?
Yeah.
And I walk around and dare say we're America's team?
Yeah, I think we know a lot of people that have never seen the Cowboys actually. We've got people working up here that have never seen the Cowboys win a championship.
But don't you get baited in often with them? You watch them and you're like, boy, that looks like that could be the team.
But think about it. If you're in Taylor's head, Tyler's head, or Emmy Grace's head, that they probably think, why are the Cowboys always being talked about on ESPN? They're probably thinking to themselves.
I joked with Orlovsky when he came on, hey, you want to talk some Cowboys today because it's all they talk, because it really moves the needle.
Well, I mean, there's a reason they're on the national game so often. I mean, they really are America's team. I don't know that there's a more popular team.
But think, if you're 24 or 23 like they are, they're probably sitting there going, why? I don't understand that.
Because
why is it not the Patriots?
At least like Pittsburgh, you've seen it in your lifetime.
Well, that was maybe the break from, I'm trying to think what the gap was for the New York Yankees. Was it 78 to 98 or 97 or 96, whatever it was? It was like an 18-year gap for the Yankees at one point.
Yeah.
That was was that Don Mattingly's teams?
Mattingly's teams, yep.
Craig Nettles,
he was
in that group.
No, Nettles won some championships in the 70s.
Yeah, Mattingly played in the one bad era of the Yankees.
And he was so good, wasn't he?
He really was. He was their best player, but it was the worst era they ever had.
Yeah. Jace looks like Cowboy. I thought that was his teams for a second. I was like, oh, it's a bandwagon. Cowboys, Lakers, Yankees, and Colorado gets the clicks. Deion does get the clicks in college right now.
He does.
No doubt about that. Show being brought to you by our friends at Champies in this hour. I want to do one more college football thing. Forrester, I sent you that chart from Kelly Ford, Kelley Ford, if you want to follow him on Twitter, Kelly Ford. He does a lot of graphics. LT tells you all the time, Georgia's going to be favored in every one of their games likely this year. Alabama and this many York. He did a graph of the Power Four and Notre Dame on how many upsets your team would have to pull where they're likely going to be underdogs to make the college football playoffs. Here's this graphic right here. Take a look. Georgia, he says they can lose 3 games they're favored in and still be in contention for the playoffs, with contention, but they can lose 2 games. They're going to be favored in all of them. They can lose 2 games
easily and
still make the playoffs.
Easily. Alabama, if they lost 3, it's borderline.
Yeah. Alabama and Oregon could lose a couple of games and still be in the playoffs.
Correct. Yeah, 10-2 gets them, man.
Yep.
Yeah. Yep.
Florida State, Iowa, Kansas State, LSU, Notre Dame, Ohio State, Penn State, Texas. If they win all the games they're favored in, they can still lose 1 game that they're, not favored in and still be in contention.
Okay, well, let's pull.
This is for at large, by the way.
Let's pull Iowa, because I was looking at their schedule earlier. For sure, they're only going to be an underdog 1 game.
1 game. So
And
I think
that's
what
at
this is
Ohio
saying.
State. Yeah. So if Iowa, and the schedule's not great, but if Iowa was to go 10-2, and they lost the game they're not supposed to, and then they lose one, or they lose one they're not supposed to, and then they lose the game they were supposed to, does 10-2 get Iowa in?
I think it does out of the Big Ten. I do.
I mean, answer me this. Are they in the conference championship game, do you think?
No. I don't think it matters.
Well, I mean,
they don't have Oregon on the schedule. I fully expect Oregon and Ohio State to be a rematch.
Let me pull up Iowa's schedule here real quick. So you're telling me Iowa has lost at Ohio State, and to who? Who's their other loss?
Just randomly, let's just say they lose at UCLA or at Maryland.
That makes their wins. You tell me the top 25 team when I get there, okay? Illinois State, Iowa State.
Possibly, but it would take a lot.
At Minnesota. Washington, I think you
Keep
think
going.
Washington, yeah. Okay. You don't have the top 25? At Michigan State.
No.
Northwestern. Wisconsin.
Possibly.
You've given them the loss at UCLA. At Maryland and Nebraska.
Nope.
I mean,
Nebraska could be a top 25 team.
Could be.
Yeah, but I mean, Iowa could be a 10-2 team with 0 top 25 wins. That's a hard case to make.
That's going to be a hard case.
But if they're 10-2 in the Big Ten, there's going to be, just like I say about the SEC, I say it about the Big Ten. You guys agree. There's going to be at least 3 Big Ten, at least 3 SEC teams every year.
I think Iowa could end up going 11-1 and not be good.
I 100%
not be
agree
good
with
or not be in.
No, not be good. They'll be in at 11-1.
Yeah, and then they'll host a game, right? I guess they wouldn't. No.
Well, I mean, if they're, I don't know. I mean, an 11-1
seed.
Big Ten team, you don't think they would be an 8 seed or higher?
Could be close. Put the graphic back up.
Well,
again.
I'd want to play them. That's for dang sure with that schedule.
I like starting at the bottom of this because, according to Kelly Ford here, Houston and Stanford needs to pull 8 upsets to make the playoffs.
Don't see that happen.
Good luck.
Arizona State, BYU, Duke, Indiana, Northwestern, Pitt, Purdue, Virginia, 7 upsets to get there. I mean, as you work your way up, you could see Baylor if the quarterback from Toledo, what's his name, Dequan, can't remember his last name now.
Sure.
The Toledo quarterback at Baylor, pretty darn good guy. Dequan Fan, maybe. I mean, 6 upsets, though, to get them in there. Rutgers on the 5 line is supposed to be pretty good. I don't know what they'd have to take to get in there. Don't think Arkansas can do it.
Go up to Florida. How is it just 3 for Florida? Florida's going to be underdogs in so many games.
Oh, that's got to be a mistake by Kelly Ford there.
So he says Florida has to pull 3 upsets.
Has to pull 3 upsets to be in contention. Now he's got contention as 3 losses.
Right.
Yeah. DeQuan Finn. Thank you, Markwell.
So that would allow Florida to have 2 losses. So
well, it's going to be an upset week 1. They're 2.5 point underdog.
I would agree.
Yep.
Texas A&M at Ben Hill Griffin. Is that an upset?
Oh,
they're going to be underdogs in at least 5 games.
Well, I don't know.
I mean, it depends on what A&M does week 1. It depends on what both Florida and A&M do.
So through the first 4 games, they're an underdog once. They'll be an underdog at Tennessee.
Yep. To Georgia,
at Texas, to LSU probably, to Ole Miss probably,
and at Florida
State.
That's 7 times.
Once you get past the bye week, they're an underdog every game.
I was really looking at the schedule, though. There is a chance, though, if things flip the other way, Florida, which this would be amazing, could be 5-0 when they play Tennessee.
Oh, yeah, I could see that. Yeah. I mean, now they're going to Miami and Texas A&M, that's 2 good wins for them if they're 5-0, obviously.
Oh, yeah. And I even think Central Florida and going to Starkville for whatever that's worth. I mean,
Lance, they could also be 1-4.
They could be.
Yeah. I mean, that's not outside the realm of possibility.
But I tell you what, I've got an October 6th Sunday afternoon trip to Scott Strickland's office if I'm 5-0 before I go to Tennessee, if I'm Billy Napier.
You get that extension before you play another game, don't you?
We don't have to announce it, Scott, but we're going to need to.
Yes.
And if I'm Scott, you know what I'm saying? You know what? Great job thus far. But I'm looking ahead at this schedule. I ain't giving you anything.
Well, I mean, but there again, with your scenario, they could go to that second bye week at 6-1. Now, it's a brutal schedule after that. But if he's 6-1 going into that bye week, I think you probably have to do something for him, don't you?
Well, I don't know, because he's going to end up 6-6.
I know, he is, but
you want to take the heat off a little bit, right?
Yeah.
Or it depends if you want to keep him or not. But if you're Strickland, you probably are tied to him.
If I'm 6-1 at that point, I mean, it's kind of hard to argue against him. I know it's going to get brutal.
All right, so a little college football and NFL for you in that segment. LT's got trash coming up on the other side. Champy's Chicken, I'm bringing you this part of the show. Champy's Chicken, Sterling will be doing his usual stuff for us throughout the football season. We love when he comes up here. You know, we always it's so slow in the summertime. We always think of things we want to do in the summer, and then sometimes we don't get around to doing it. I wanted to do where he cooked the wings himself with his own flavors, and we did the heat thing again to let him heat them up for us. Yeah, the hot ones. Because we all agree the hot ones, the way it was done from the competition, those didn't taste fantastic. I'd love to have them taste better but be hotter.
Yeah, he did the wings for us then, but we had to use the sauces that came. The sauces were what
he's the one that tossed them in those sauces. The sauces, I think there was 1 or 2 that were decent.
Yeah.
And the rest were awful.
Most of them were terrible.
I would like Sterling next time he comes up.
I'd rather do this when it gets a little cooler, though.
No. But next time he comes up, just make us a batch of wings as hot as they can be, but taste good. I'd like to see. You know what I'm saying?
That's quite a needle to thread. Yeah.
I mean, but sometimes it's it got to be wet sock tasting as those were. I'd love to see how he could heat it up and still make it taste good. I'd like to try that. Coming up. But Sterling's great. Champy's Chicken, 119 in Alabaster. Perfect for your tailgate and everything. Go by and see them. Trash on the other side. Stay with us.
Everything Next Round is on demand now in the podcast section at nextroundlive.com.
Spring weather is here, and our friends at Hemp Hill Services are offering a $69 HVAC tune-up plus 10% off any service call when you mention the Next Round. Call Adam, Chad, and the guys at Hemp Hill Services. Make sure your HVAC unit is ready to keep up with the changing weather. Hemp Hill Services, locally owned and operated independent Train dealer. The team can service all makes and models. For all of your plumbing, heating, and cooling needs, call Hemp Hill Services. It's hard to stop a train. 205-229-2090 or hemphillservices.com. That's 205-229-2090, hemphillservices.com.
Storm season is here. Make sure you have a plan of action in place right now. Greg from Phelps City and Storm Restoration Roofing should be your first call when storms hit. Insurance companies love working with Storm Restoration Roofing because of Greg Nelson's name and reputation in the industry. When storms hit, call Greg Nelson. He's local, 205-542-3531. He's the home of the free no-cost roof inspection. Greg from Phelps City on Facebook, 205-542-3531. It's Storm Restoration Roofing.
Hey, you. School's coming back. Time to gear up. And at New Balance Birmingham, we know what's up. Before hitting the books, check out the looks. Come together at New Balance Birmingham on Highway 280, right next to Chick-fil-A. New Balance Birmingham, we got now.
Hey, for all of your IT and printing needs, reach out to our friends at Xerox Business Solutions. Look, I'm still one of those old school guys. I print my notes every single day for the show. If you watch the show here on the Next Round, you see all the notes in front of me. From day one, Xerox Business Solutions, they've been with us here at the Next Round. Local for over 45 years. For all of your IT and printing needs, visit XeroxBusinessSolutions.com or call 205-969-3000. That's 205-969-3000.
Maybe you follow us on Instagram, Facebook, X, LinkedIn, or TikTok. While we're changing the game yet again, Tyler's Telegrams has been developed exclusively for you.
Hi, this is the lovable boy you know as Tyler the intern. I'm a businessman now. I will come directly to your door and tell you every time a new piece of TNR content drops. For the low, low price of $740,000, you can be notified by me, one of the biggest stars of the next round, about that thing you missed. Sure, the rest of those social media services are free, but so is radio, and we all know how well that's trending.
Tyler's Telegrams is currently operating exclusively in Bibb County. Other social media platforms are available everywhere.
Hey, Lance Taylor from the next round to tell you about my friends at Michelson Laser Vision, located conveniently UAB Highlands. Almost 20 years ago, I went in for the procedure. Only took 12 minutes for both eyes. When I went in, I had 2200 vision. I was legally blind. Now I have 20/15 vision, still 19 years later. Make the call today. Schedule a hassle-free consultation. 969-8100. Dr. Mark Michelson, Dr. Jen Michelson, Michelson Laser Vision. Make sure you tell them the next round sent you. 969-8100 or michelsonlaservision.com.
We cannot report on the Olympics, blah, 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 but a Brazilian gymnast looked like while flipping, looked like she landed on her face and maybe broke her nose.
Oh, God. That'd be awful.
No, I didn't see it live, but I saw it all over social media. The dude off the platform that landed on his back.
Oh, the Chinese diver?
The diver?
Unbelievable.
Yeah, that was hilarious.
Yeah. How's that impossible?
And then he gets out of the pool and his buddy gives him a high five.
The qualifying to make the Olympics, the team from, I think it was the Philippines, was hilarious. They were all not making a very smooth splash as they were going in. They did not make it to the Olympics. Because there's qualifiers. It's
exactly.
It's like watching the early rounds of the championship week on conference tournament week. You've got some 5-17 diver up there trying to
Maris displaying Longwood.
Trying to stick one and maybe Cinderella his way into the Olympics, and it did not work.
I've just never seen somebody miss that badly.
On TikTok, man, last night there was some place they had a platform built off a cliff. It was sort of, what's the place down at Lake Martin where you jump off the cliff?
Chimney Rock.
Like Chimney Rocks, where a little higher it looked like, where they were, a lot of boats out there, they were doing a belly busting contest from a high distance, and people were jumping off, and you were asked to judge who was the winner in this. It was crazy watching people, because that hurts. I don't dive a lot.
That hurts from like 3 feet up.
Yeah.
Like you jump off the side of the pool.
Yeah, crazy. The show being brought to you by our friends at CPAP Plus. We'll get to trash in just a second. CPAP Plus after we see the best thing we saw last night.
I saw our man Ush up here for another edition of the Pennant Grace yesterday, and he was talking about, again, our friends at CPAP Plus. They carry the best equipment from names like ResMed, React, Fisher Paykel, with masks and supplies in stock every day. If you need it today, guess what? They've got it today. Visit any of those 3 locations. Pelham, Highway 280, now open in Trussville for a free CPAP checkup, free filters. No appointment is needed. Don't buy your mask or supplies from Amazon or online. Go see the folks at CPAP Plus. See what you're actually buying. They're also CPAP Plus, or they're CPAP users themselves, so they know exactly what you are getting into. So make sure you stop into one of those 3 locations. Sign up for that July giveaway for a free travel CPAP machine. Just Google CPAP Plus. Come into one of those 3 convenient locations. Tell the O'Neill brothers, the guys from the next round sent you.
Forster, do we have James McCann pictures first, or is it just the thought here on number 9? Do we go number 9 straight up, or do you have some pictures leading into it?
Oh no, I've got pictures.
Okay, James McCann's the catcher for the Orioles, and he took one last night right off the face.
Yeah, it takes in the first inning, takes a 95-mile-an-hour fastball straight to his nose.
Oh my gosh!
Destroys his nose.
First of a doubleheader, shatters his nose. You see in the lower right, has got the tissue swabs up there that keeps the blood from flowing out. Keeps playing through this, catching on a day game. First of a day-night doubleheader for the leading Orioles. And as the game continues, Forrester, it continued to get worse, did it not?
Yeah, he got all swollen up, his eyes, it affected his vision.
Had to have a pounding headache too, Scotty.
Here's check him out in the post game here.
Yes.
Look at that. Looked like he lost a boxing match.
Yeah,
it really does.
It does. And go back to our conversation with Clay Travis talking about Will Levis had a hurt toe against Vanderbilt.
Yeah.
This dude's playing a doubleheader.
You got to gut through that against Vandy. Man, that is awful. His head had to be pounding the whole game.
Yeah, and he did not play in the nightcap, if I'm right. He was on the bench, though. Am I correct, Forrester?
That is correct. He stuck around, but I think he did it so that his Adley Rushman, who's kind of the main catcher, wouldn't have had to catch both games of a doubleheader.
Oh, this is the backup?
So here's James McCann afterwards.
God, look at this guy.
Thanks to our friends there at Masson, one of the great sports networks, Mid-Atlantic Sports Network.
Can you just take us through what you were going through there?
Yeah, I see it happen to other guys. It's no fun to see your teammate happen to a teammate or even an opponent have it happen to you. It's mistakes. I take a lot of pride in being tough and doing everything I can to stay on the field. And, that's what I was able to do today. I think at first it's more scary than anything. I guess like taking a pretty good punch, pretty good right hook, I guess. Now it's just the swelling that's kind of set in and hard to see a little bit. But other than that.
Yeah, I mean, that left eye is almost closed. I can't believe he could catch a game.
I mean, I don't know how much damage he can dole out, but he can obviously take a lot. Boy, he would not be a cakewalk. I'll tell you that.
I will not question his toughness ever one time.
Give me, I assume one of you have been punched really solid before, a 95-mile-an-hour fastball. How fast, the impact of a punch, how does that feel compared to a 95 mile?
I would think 95 would be the equivalent of like a heavyweight hitting you. I would think.
Like Mike Tyson in his prime, you think?
Yeah, bare knuckle Mike Tyson or with a glove?
I don't know.
Yeah,
that's a lot of impact.
Like the hardest you've ever been hit in the face, how big of a fastball? I mean, you could be such a great fighter. Maybe you've never been hit in the face.
No, I've been hit in the face a couple of times. I remember one time, my jaw popped for 3 months when I chewed gum.
Ooh.
Like every time you chewed?
Every time I chewed gum, yeah.
Just from one punch?
One punch.
For 3 months?
For 3 months.
How old were you?
21.
2021. So it wasn't your neighbors?
No.
It wasn't the Flints?
Yes. No. It was actually, this is so bad, it was in the parking lot of Da Vinci's over in Homewood, and it was an all-out brawl, and it was with the dude that actually played at UAB back then.
I love Daniel in the MyBookie.ag chat room. Flint story incoming.
100%. That's where I was going.
I do have Michael Flint coming in town in a couple of weeks. I'm going to have to bring him by where you guys can meet him.
It needs to be a Mystery Fifth Hour.
Can we do a Mystery Fifth Hour with
I bet
him?
we could, yeah.
Yeah, let's get him up here for a Mystery Fifth Hour. That'd be phenomenal.
Yeah, I will sit out and let him have my microphone. I'll have nothing to add. I'll sit right over there in a beer on the Lego machine and just listen to Flint.
Back to McCann, though, when you have an injury like that, the next day is the worst. Can you imagine what he looks like today?
Oh,
has he sent anything out on social media?
Check that for us, Forrester.
I would think double black eyes for
the
sure.
Yeah, the swelling under the eyes would be incredible.
No, I'm going to tell you the worst thing. If you've ever had an injury where maybe you ooze a little bit and you sort of stick to the sheet. Can you imagine that he's on his pillowcase and he turns over and he sort of sticks to that pillowcase?
Well, I just can't imagine like you'd want to sleep on your back, but if you break your nose.
I would almost want to, like when you get a massage and you have the open face, like almost lay on that and just let it, put a bucket under it and just let it drip.
There's sometimes.
Oh, God.
That's not a bad thing. Sometimes at night, I sleep on my stomach a lot. Sometimes I'm like, God, I wish I had that to where I could just, like the massage table, where I can just have my face in that thing there.
I don't think I ever end up on my stomach. Like, I'll wake up on both sides and on my back. I never wake up on my stomach.
Sometimes I have to start on my stomach. That's where I go to sleep.
See, I immediately start in the funeral position.
I wish I could sleep on my back.
You start
in the funeral position.
Like this?
Yep. Lay down, just like that.
So that's how you go to sleep?
Yep. And I'll wake up on both sides. I've awakened on my right shoulder and my left shoulder, but I immediately go to sleep in the funeral position.
Happy birthday to your beautiful wife, but how she hasn't put a wooden stake through your heart. You sleeping like that, I don't know how. I mean, you go to sleep like this?
Yeah, I mean, my hands. If you lay on your back, what do you do with your hands?
Do you wake up like this?
No, I wake up on my sides. I rarely wake up, like on my back, but that is how I go to sleep. Like when I lay down, I just like that right there.
Like, do you start to smoke if the sun sort of tweaks in through your blinds?
I mean, it's not. I don't think that's that crazy that I go to sleep at the funeral. But like, there's really only 4 options.
Our Stu says he crosses his arms as well. Is this the thing?
It's the most comfortable thing if you're laying backwards.
See, I basically lay like chalk line, like I've been shot. and if I try to go on my sides, like I've got so much nerve damage throughout my body, it's like something goes numb, shoulder will pop, I'll flip over on the other one. I need to be on but it kills my back to be on my stomach I just can't sleep another way.
Well, you got no way you could sleep then, basically.
I don't.
Yeah. So you lay down like this, Lance?
No, he lays on his stomach that way.
Oh, stomach.
That's the way I go to sleep, too.
Yeah.
And my legs aren't straight either, so my legs are a little crooked, too. So I think I'm the chalk line guy, too, to start with. And then sometimes I'm right side to go to sleep. And now I've got a big body length pillow. A nice little.
I'll try to put pillow between knees. I try everything I can, but
if I sleep on my side, if I wake up on my side, I'll grab a pillow and stuff it between my knees and then go back to sleep because it kind of hurts my back.
Well, my friends at Precision Sports, Dr. Patterson recommended a body pillow, so I was able to order one that's perfectly 5'10.5", and I'm able to hug it as I sleep.
that would be a bracket challenge for you, Brown. You have to sleep with a Vizsla for 2 weeks.
Oh, not a chance. Not a chance.
Unbathed.
Yeah, rolling around in moles, dead moles.
Has he posted anything today, Forrester? I wanted to go back to that note. Oh, this is him today?
That's
dog. That's the Orioles. Dog.
He is a dog, man.
Yeah, that's him sharing the Orioles tweet. But that's it from him.
He ain't going to send out a selfie today, I don't think.
Yeah, probably still medicated in the sleep. All right, it is Trash Time, brought to you by Mortgage Right. Hit it, Rockstar.
Congratulations, the Cure Rock and Roll Hall of Fame inductees 2019. Are you as excited as I am?
By the sounds of it, no.
LT's Trash is presented by Mortgage Right. Mortgages done the right way.
Hey, if you are looking for a new home, our friends at Mortgage Right here to help. Whether you're a first-time buyer or a seasoned home buying veteran, their great service and low rates make the process easy. And speaking of veterans, they were veteran-founded right here in Birmingham. So remember, whether you're looking for your final home or your first home, whether you have a big down payment or need 100% financing, Mortgage Right, one-stop shop for mortgages. Visit them online, mortgageright.com. Call the Birmingham office, 205-900-7200 to talk with a mortgage pro right now. NMLS 2239, equal housing lender.
Daniel, she's got one. He says Jimmy's got a girlfriend pillow. Got to get Maggie a boyfriend pillow. She's got one. It's 6'6", with a French accent.
Whoa.
This is how scary society is now with social media. A teenager was charged this week with 2 felonies for allegedly derailing trains in Nebraska to film insane footage for YouTube.
Derailing trains?
Yeah. 17-year-old who has not been identified because of his age posted a 5-minute video of the April 21st derailment, calling it, quote, the most insane video I've ever taken. He goes on to say, oh my God, oh my freaking God. He repeatedly gasped as he filmed 2 locomotives, 5 fully loaded rail cars come off the rails but remain upright after hitting an empty one, causing $350,000 in damage.
That's all? Wow.
Can I just say, if you happen to catch on video one train derailment, they might just think it's coincidence. Twice, you're prime suspect at this point. They're going to figure this one out.
Well, he was even dumb enough that he approached an investigator on the scene to show the investigator the footage that he had taken.
Yeah, no damage to people, like nobody harmed. Okay.
Now, he was charged Wednesday after investigators obtained a search warrant to seize a cell phone and a 4K digital recorder he used to film the footage, which he'd also shared with a local news station. He was hit with 2 counts of criminal mischief, causing damage worth more than $5,000. Both felonies. Penalties could include $15,000 fine and up to 7 years in prison on each count. Now, a train conductor told investigators as his train approached a crossing, he noticed the switch was misaligned. He tried to make an emergency stop, but couldn't do so before reaching the spot where the missing switch would have been. The investigator later found the padlock was supposed to be attached to the switch was missing, indicated that it had been tampered with. Now, the boy denied everything until surveillance showed a beige 1996 Buick Park Avenue traveling in the area before the 17-year-old male was seen walking on the south side of the tracks.
Well, at least he's classy driving a Buick Park Avenue.
19. He bought that right after the Cowboys won their last Super Bowl.
That's a sweet ride.
I tell you, we've got a bunch of dumb criminals on the show today.
All right.
If you would prefer the police not find your bag of drugs, perhaps consider replacing the illegal narcotics into something other than a container marked bag of drugs.
They'll never expect it there.
Cops report that Lauren Riley was a passenger in a car pulled over on Saturday morning after the driver was spotted without a seatbelt. During the traffic stop, officers noticed Riley, 41, moving items around the vehicle's floorboard. When police peered into the auto, they allegedly spotted drug paraphernalia, which prompted a probable cause examination of the vehicle and its contents. The result, they turned up a bag inside of Riley's purse labeled bag of drugs.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that's not what you think it is.
It had a needle, straws, metal spoon, 4 glass pipes, plastic baggies, crack cocaine, crystal meth, Xanax, and other narcotics.
I love how she labeled it. I think I might forget what this is, so go ahead and put a label on it. I'm going to wonder why I had this bag full of a spoon, a needle, and a bunch of...
I'm going to be so high. I'm going to need another high, but I'm not going to be able to figure out which bag it's in.
Right. Is it in the bag of candy? Nope, it's in the bag of drugs. Okay.
Yeah.
You know what she didn't have in that bag?
Hair shampoo?
Shampoo, yep.
Eye makeup?
Okay, you guys tell me if this next individual is island worthy.
Okay.
Wait. Can we go back to the mugshot real quick? I mean, I've never seen a mugshot taken at that angle. Did she, with the photographer, say,
and she squatted?
Listen, can you get the camera a little higher? It makes me look skinnier.
She's looking from her pharmacist's angle.
Yes. Show me angry. Show me angry. Okay, look up the camera. Look up at the camera. Okay, right there.
Crazy.
So you guys tell me, island worthy or not. Former California Public School District official was sentenced to over 5 years in prison Thursday after officials found he embezzled nearly $16.7 million from the district over the years, hiding stacks of cash in a small refrigerator. Jorge Contreras, 53, previously worked as a senior director of fiscal services at the Magnolia School District. It is a public school district that serves Anaheim and Stanton. He faced his judgment Thursday in Santa Ana court. He was sentenced 70 months in federal prison, ordered to pay over $16 million in restitution. The U.S. Attorney's Office said in a news release he has pleaded guilty in March to one count of embezzlement, theft, and intentional misapplication of funds of an organization receiving federal funds. Prosecutors say that Contreras was hired in 2006, managed the fiscal operations of the district, where 81% of the pupils from preschool through sixth grade are classified as socioeconomically disadvantaged.
$16,000? Like he was stealing this $1 at a time?
$16 million.
Oh, he had $16 million is what he stole?
Yeah. Instead of using the money he entrusted with managing to benefit the schools, he spent it on a lavish lifestyle, including Louis Vuitton designer bags, luxury car, using the money towards a home. In his role, he had accessed a school district bank account, the student body bank account, and, quote, caused checks from these accounts to be deposited into his personal bank account. He would write checks in small dollar amounts written to MSD, the initials, with the letters spaced out. After receiving the paper signatures from others, he would fill in those blanks to spell fictitious names and increase the amounts of the checks and deposit them into his personal bank accounts or ATMs. Prosecutors say he pocketed a total of $16,694,942.
Unbelievable. Did kids go without food because of this, Lance? I'm going to need to know that.
Well, I mean, 81% were disadvantaged kids.
Yeah, they missed out on a lot of stuff, Brownie. Go back to his refrigerator. I mean, some of that, look how old some of that money looks, and apparently it stinks because he's got baking soda in there to clean up the smell.
And my frozen chicken fingers.
So they found approximately $7.7 million in personal and real property traced to his fraud, including one home, 2021 BMW, 57 luxury designer bags, most Louis Vuittons, pieces of jewelry, designer clothes, and 8 bottles of Azul Ultra Luxury Tequila. By the way, that Azul can get up to $10,000 a bottle depending on what you've got.
Wow, you had $16 million. Tax-free, by the way. You're not putting that on your tax
Here's what
return.
doesn't make any sense. Like, if there's no way you can do this forever and get away. So once you get to a point, why doesn't he just bolt and leave the country?
Just check out. Look how old some of that money looks. It looks like it was made in the 1800s.
Like, to your point.
That stack at the lower right?
Yeah, to your point, Lance, you're like, once I get to maybe $2 million, I am probably tempting fate here. I'm going to take my $2 million and flee the country.
He goes to Costa Rica, goes to Mexico.
Right.
They're actually not going to send anybody to try to find him over this.
They may never discover it, in fact. I mean,
that's the point, Brownie. Shame on them that they...
it took to $16 million, and you said he was hired in 2006?
Yeah.
I mean, we're somewhere around 20 years and $16 million before they figured it out. How do
we lose $16 million in the paperwork?
Yeah, that is incredible.
People don't do really good internal audits. I have learned that. I had a client call me last week, and I think it's really important if you own a business to do an internal audit, every 3 or 4 months. And it was one of our friends that called me to ask specifically about something that we had sent invoice-wise. But this is the problem with some of these school districts. I guess they're just not doing internal audits.
I guess not. Or he's paid somebody off. And that's what I would investigate next is like, who missed the obvious flags on this, and did you get some money from this guy?
Yeah, and what does she look like?
Yeah, exactly. Because imagine if you're, not making a ton of money in a school district and you say, Lance, I need you to account for this. And you're like, okay, I'm just going to level with you. I'm stealing the money, but if you'll keep quiet.
Yeah, I got you.
Here's $500,000 in cash
you
out of my
guys
fridge.
Tell me where you stand on this. Consumers cannot expect boneless chicken wings to actually be free of bones A divided Ohio Supreme Court ruled on Thursday, rejecting claims by a restaurant patron who suffered serious medical complications from getting a bone stuck in his throat.
Yeah, I would agree with the court here. It is a chicken wing. The wings have bones in them. Just because they say boneless, I can't 100% guarantee you that. Yeah, I mean, I would.
Michael Berkheimer was dining with his wife and friends at a wing joint in Hamilton, Ohio, ordered the usual boneless wings with Parmesan garlic sauce when he felt a bite-sized piece of the meat go down the wrong way. 3 days later, he had a fever, unable to keep food down, went to the emergency room where a doctor discovered a long, thin bone that had torn his esophagus and caused an infection. He then sued the restaurant, Wings on Brookwood, saying the restaurant failed to warn him that the so-called boneless wings, which, of course, nuggets of boneless, skinless breast meat, could contain bones. Suit also named the supplier and the farm that produced the chicken, claiming all were negligent in a 4-3 ruling. Very tight. Supreme Court said Thursday that boneless wings refer to a cooking style and that Berkheimer should have been on high guard since bones are common knowledge that could be in chickens.
My poppy used to, catch the fish, the brim or whatever, catfish, and he'd fillet it up. But I mean, he loved us. He was doing the best he could, but occasionally that bone would get in the fish.
Yeah, I would say anytime you're eating bird or fish, you need to be aware you could come across a bone.
I will say, though, I don't eat boneless wings.
Yeah.
But I would think that there wouldn't be any bones in them.
I mean, I would think there wouldn't, but I'm also not going to be surprised if I bite into one. It is an animal, right?
I mean, occasionally, my steak isn't bone in, and occasionally I'll catch a fragment of bone on the edge of a piece or something.
Yeah.
It's not a perfect world we live in.
That is correct. We can only fillet so many things.
That's right. Scott says there's no such thing as boneless wings. I agree with Forrester back there.
It's chicken nuggets.
They're nuggets and fingers at that point. All right, that is Trash Today, brought to you by our friends at Mortgage Right.
Yeah, before you take the next steps on a new home purchase or refinance, talk with the team at Mortgage Right. No cost or obligation to find out what you qualify for. Go to mortgageright.com/TNR or call 205-900-7200.
All right, one more segment to go before we pack it up today, but don't forget, the fun never stops here on the platform. We've got Uncorked, Taylor Korn's latest interview with Anquan Fagans. You can get that over on her site right now. Also, Pennant Grace, new show out yesterday, talking about the Braves' big moves down towards the trading deadline and what's to come in the future. Solar now part of the Braves. You get that on their platform, EG and Josh. The Meltdown is back with you with Melton and Lunceford today, live at 2 Central today. And don't forget, always, Roll Damn Pods for you with Mick Gillespie, Jake Coker, Elephant in the Room, and, of course, War Damn Pods right there with the Village Vice, Brad Law, Zach Blackerby, and the guys talking everything Auburn football as camps are opening up around the state of Alabama and around college football.
Follow Rockstar on Twitter @RockstarBHM.
This hour of The Next Round is presented by the Birmingham Racecourse Casino, now featuring 7 days of giveaways with your chance to win a share of up to $125,000. The more you visit the Birmingham Racecourse Casino, the more chances you have to win.
There is no better place to watch your favorite sporting events and enjoy great food than one of the 3 great Birmingham locations of Walk-Ons. The TVs are everywhere with your favorite sports, and the menu is second to none. From the great appetizers like the waffle cheese fries to the Avery Island salad, handhelds like the all-new chicken bomber, bistro specialties with a special taste of the bayou, the amazing hand patty burgers, the great po' boys, and the specialty drinks. Visit any of the 3 great Birmingham locations of Walk-Ons: Greystone, Stadium Trace and Hoover, and the brand new location in Trussville.
Hang out with The Next Round on the go. Whether you're driving to work, running errands, sitting on the beach, or you just need a break from the real world, we can keep you company. Check out The Next Round, Mystery Fifth Hour, and our other shows on your favorite podcast app. We'll meet you there.
Our friends at Long Use Furniture believe in getting more style for less. Long Use offers a great selection of furniture for your living room, bedroom, dining room, home office, and entertainment room, helping you elevate your home design and decor. Long Use offers everything from vibrant outdoor furniture to breezy home accents. Everything you need to create your own sunshine sanctuary. Right now, you can save up to 10% store-wide, receive $300 in Long Use sleep credits with select mattress purchases, and access special financing on tons of hot buys. Take exit 280 off the I-65 Hallmark Farms exit today to see what Long Use has to offer you.
Hey, there's nothing worse than waking up to a plumbing problem. Don't get caught in a flooded house. Call the guys at Hemp Hill Services. Adam, Chad, and the team at Hemp Hill are the only ones I trust to fix it and fix it right the first time. Hemp Hill Services does it right and always at a fair price. For all of your plumbing, cooling, and heating needs, trust the name that Birmingham has trusted since 1954. That is Hemp Hill Services. Call now, 205-229-2090. That's 205-229-2090. Hey, for all of your IT and printing needs, reach out to our friends at Xerox Business Solutions. Look, I'm still one of those old school guys. I print my notes every single day for the show. If you watch the show here on The Next Round, you see all the notes in front of me. From day one, Xerox Business Solutions, they've been with us here at The Next Round. Local for over 45 years. For all of your IT and printing needs, visit XeroxBusinessSolutions.com or call 205-969-3000. That's 205-969-3000.
Buying that perfect home is one of the most important financial decisions you'll ever make, so it's crucial that you have the right partner to help you through the process. Hi, I'm Lisa Zeig, Vice President Mortgage Loan Officer for Bryant Bank, and I'm here to tell you that we are that partner, making it easy to buy with confidence. We offer a variety of mortgage products to fit your unique home buying situation. That kind of hassle-free approach might not be what you'd expect from a bank, but it's exactly what you can expect from us. Give me a call today or visit one of our 18 offices across the state of Alabama and let me show you what banking beyond expectation is all about.
Final segment of the show. LT is in here with his hair that, thanks to Dr. B, grows a little closer to God every day.
Yeah.
Here it gets closer, right?
I never have Orlovsky hair, but Dr. B has helped me out, more than doubled in thickness since I went to see Dr. B. Brown is doing the exact same thing I'm doing, the non-invasive treatment 3 times a week, 30 minutes each time on the couch. For more than 20 years, women and men have turned to Dr. Beckenstein for a range of cosmetic and reconstructive procedures. He will use that experience, his advanced training and genetic testing to help his patients fully understand the procedures they are considering. Call Dr. B today. Tell him The Next Round sent you. 205-319-0316. That's 205-319-0316 or t3hair.net.
By the way, I think that's the first time I made you laugh since April. Your hair is closer to God here. Best road trips.
Keeping score.
No, I'm just saying I don't make him laugh usually. Best road trips. It dawned on me when we had, who was the guy we had on yesterday from Oklahoma?
Eddie
Radasevich. You can go back and check out his interview with us on our wherever you get our podcasts, including Apple and Spotify. Really, really great content creator with the Oklahoma program out there. We were talking to him, and I asked him about where in the SEC is he looking forward, and Oklahoma fans are looking forward to going, and he started naming several different ones. And then I made the point that what are the good road trips in their old Big 12 days? So I want to ask you, if you were going to one game in this upcoming year in the Big 12, and I'll do a couple other conferences in a second, what's the one road trip you want to go to in the Big 12?
Well, I'd like to see the atmosphere at Bill Snyder Family Stadium.
You've never been?
But I have not. But I've been in Manhattan before, and boy, it just doesn't seem like a fun city.
My Auburn friends who went to Auburn, Kansas State talked about the Friday night before the game down in the bar and restaurant area, how the little pep band goes into the bars and they play some song and the whole bar sings along with them. They go bar to bar. They thought that night was pretty cool.
Yeah, look, so I've spent a lot of time in Lawrence. I think my Big 12 would actually be Ames, Iowa.
Okay. I was looking. So first of all, Oklahoma State goes to Kansas State Saturday, September 28th, which is a heck of a day, by the way, in college football. It's Bama, Georgia is that same day. Oklahoma State at Kansas State. That's a big Big 12 game there. If you were going to go, that'd be the one you'd want to go to. Because Oklahoma State would probably be mine. That looks like a juiced atmosphere.
Been to Stillwater. I've just never been to Ames. Now, our friend Jill Savage, who is an Iowa grad, they call it Lames. She's like, you don't want to go to Lames. It looks like a good football atmosphere.
I think if you catch, a great game. I'm just looking at their home schedule.
I want to go in October, though.
Okay, in October, Lance, they're going to host Baylor and UCF. I don't think you're going to grab a good home day there.
Jace might be right. Boulder, I've been to Boulder. I've never been to a game at Folsom, but I would think with the buzz they've got right now, that'd be fun.
Well, that's going to be my answer. Stillwater I've been, but not for a game. I've been to the city. I liked the city. But Forster, let's go back first to Kansas State. Forster, Rockstar, if you can give me Forster's microphone. You've been to Kansas State back in your TV days, right? You went to that Auburn Kansas State game. What was that like?
I did. It was a Thursday night game.
Yep.
I remember it kind of being. They didn't have a great atmosphere. Wasn't a whole lot of buzz.
That was 2014. I think it was the follow-up. They had just played for the national championship, and Tyler Lockett dropped a touchdown in the end zone. Do you remember this, Forster?
Yeah.
It was early on. I remember. It kind of changed the momentum.
Yeah, Duke Williams had a great touchdown.
I do remember that. Yeah.
Let me ask you, because Jay says I bet Morgantown's a good time. Did you go on that Auburn, West Virginia trip?
I missed that one.
Also a Thursday night, right?
Seems like it was.
That was a Thursday night. That's when Tuberville turned off the sideline heaters. You remember that? He got so pissed at his team.
Well, was he not fired the next day?
He was fired pretty soon after that. I think that's. Well, I don't know if he was fired because he coached the Iron Bowl that year.
I remember me and Ian and Rocky were doing a show from the wharf in Orange Beach.
Yeah.
That next day from Hemingway's.
Yeah, he coached all the way through because he was at the 08 Iron Bowl. Because I remember he got off the bus and he held up the fingers, and then Alabama beat him like 38-0 or something like that.
But Boulder is it for me. Liz Arts, who you remember, I used to work with. Jeff Shear, WSFA, now at Auburn, I friends with, used to work with. And Abby Chin, I used to work with, all Colorado grads. Clack comes on the show. It just looks beautiful. I mean, the stadium looks old, but the backdrop looks beautiful. I think that's where I'd want to go.
I'm going to say underrated is Lubbock. I think a big game in Lubbock. They look like a rowdy bunch. Now, I don't know that you want to go to Lubbock, but...
Yeah, Lubbock's kind of a rough town.
Now, I get confused with my state. How do I get to Lubbock?
It's up in that big panhandle at the top.
Is it really?
I've been, or it's near it.
I'd have put it out. I would have put it between Dallas and El Paso.
So when I went out west, when I had to do the Alien Fest, so once you exit Fort Worth and you start driving towards El Paso, which is, by the way, the middle of nowhere, you get to Abilene, and I think just past Abilene, you exit to go up to Lubbock. And we did that exit, but we veered off before we got to Lubbock to go into New Mexico.
And that's where they throw the tortillas. Onto the field after touchdowns. If I asked you the same thing about the ACC,
Clemson or Tallahassee, I haven't been to either one. I mean, I've been to the town. I just haven't been to a game.
I haven't been to a Florida State game. I've been to a Clemson game.
You were not impressed. I know this is saying very little about you.
There's no debate between Death Valleys for me.
Yeah.
There's a real intimidating one, and then there's Clemson.
I mean, you were at a pretty big game for them. That was Auburn in town. I mean, that was a meaningful game.
Auburn coming off national championship, I think. I think it was 2011.
It wasn't like you had just went to a crap game.
No.
Yeah, as a kid, I would have said Miami or Syracuse. I always thought Syracuse, the Carrier Dome was so cool.
It seemed intimidating back in the day.
It did back in the day. Maybe Virginia Tech, because I think they're going to be good this year, or Florida State.
Virginia Tech, if you could recreate that crazy Thursday night atmosphere
back in the day,
that would be a good one. Our friend Lauren Sisler and John Willard of Virginia Tech people, they used to go to those games all the time. And if I said the Big Ten, if you could go to one Big Ten location, Wisconsin's been high on y'all's list.
Yeah, I do want to go to Wisconsin, Alabama. I'd like to make that trip.
I would have to go to Columbus, though.
I've been in the stadium. I was in a concert last summer in Columbus. The stadium is not going to blow you away. They have not updated it a lot. Like, it's still old. It is old. You can see the age in it. Like, you go into Bryant Denny and Jordan Hare, you know they're kind of old, but you see updated areas, right? You don't see a lot of that in the
It looks weathered.
It looks weathered. They have stuck with, but you still walk in there and you know you're in a cathedral of college football. I don't mean to totally diminish it. It would be my choice, but I don't know.
I was going to say, I spent a lot of time in Iowa. I don't know why I keep going back to Iowa. I would like to go to an Iowa game, though.
You want to wave those kids?
Iowa? That's where baseball. You did some baseball in Iowa.
Oh, yeah. So Red Oak, Iowa was kind of the city we were in, but we were through Council Bluffs and went into Omaha and things like that. But I wasn't blown away with the city. It's just those atmospheres look good on camera for whatever reason.
I'm with Scott, though. If you're going to give me one game this year, I'm going to go to Ohio State at Oregon. And go experience Alton.
Good Big Ten blue blood.
Yes, Oregon. A long-time Big Ten matchup there.
Nothing feels like Big Ten football than going to Oregon.
But, I mean, I remember specifically Tennessee fans calling our show Dunaway after they went, and they were like, I was a doubter, because I think this goes back to the Dunaway and Brown days when Tennessee went out there. We weren't even Lance yet. And I specifically remember a couple of Tennessee fans calling our show on the old Jocks, and they were like, listen, I was a doubter. That stadium's legit. It is loud. It's like an SEC atmosphere.
I really believe it was our first year together.
Could have been. I don't know.
Because I think that's how we got into the Oregon cheerleading debate. Because my Tennessee friends had gone out there and all their 13-year-old sons wanted to do was take their picture with the Oregon cheerleaders. I said, you should get those boys to the West Coast more often. That's our show today. Don't forget all the stuff all the other content we have. Disrupt the Media. Go like and follow on that YouTube channel. Do that here and subscribe as well. We appreciate you guys so much for being with us. Thanks to Emily Grace for being on the road on campus all week at UAB earlier today. If you missed that hit, you can go back at the start of the show. Here is every show we've ever done. All 752 are available for you right here on YouTube. Thanks for a little T, working hard last night on the recruiting side of things. As Auburn picked up another recruit. Alabama picked up one for 2027 earlier today. Moody's Barack Willis picking the Tide, at least for now. 2027 is a long time away. We're not too long till we're back with you tomorrow at 9 a.m. Central Time. Until next time, God bless you and God bless America.